It's a perfect day for a good old CFL doubleheader. Our opening game features a pair of second-place teams. The Argonauts and the Elks are set to clash in Edmonton, while game number 2 takes us to Hamilton, where the Riders will look to make it 6 straight wins over the Ticats. Week 11 continues next on TSN. Last week, the Argos overcame a turnover-filled affair to beat the Stamps. Chad Kelly threw 4 picks in that one and has 13 in total this season, tops in the CFL. But Toronto can't afford to do that against an Elks team that's forced the most turnovers this season. Tyrell Ford is looking to take advantage here today, saying earlier in the week that he's waiting for Kelly to make a bad decision. That is a bad man. And hello and welcome here inside the TSN studio. Thanks for joining us for our doubleheader here on Week 11. Laura Dyken, Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, Milt Stiegel. So we've got the Argos looking to win 3 in a row for the first time this year. We've got the Elks facing a little adversity, losers of 2 in a row, albeit to Saskatchewan and Montreal. That Elks team has given up almost 37 points per game over the last 3 contests. Milt, do you see that trend continuing here today?
I don't for a couple of reasons. Saskatchewan and Montreal, they have a balanced attack. Yes, they can throw the ball, but they also can run the ball. Toronto, they are one-dimensional. They haven't ran the ball since Mike Pinball Clemens was at running back. So we know there's going to be a lot of balls in the air. We know Chad can give some defenders some opportunities to get some interceptions, so that means less opportunities on offense. So I think the Elks, their defense will get back on track.
I think Toronto's going to score points. I mean, I don't think this offense, and we talk about it every darn week. I'm kind of sick of talking about it. It is what it is. Chad's going to throw interceptions, but he's also going to put up massive numbers. I mean, we're talking about averaging almost 370 yards a game passing. I expect the same. And Tyrell Flores said it. I'm waiting for him, but Chad doesn't care. And they're going to put up points. It's a matter of how many turnovers they can get and what Edmonton can do with those turnovers.
Yep. He's going to throw it. He's going to launch it. He might get picked, but he'll do it again and again and again. And you talked about it, Milt, I think for that very reason, the fact that they're second worst in the CFL when it comes to rushing the ball behind Ottawa. They're going to continue to throw the ball, and Chad is going to do that tonight. I think they put up a lot of numbers as well.
We'll see if this is the day that Justin Rankin can get going again. Yeah. I know that Argos' rush defense is good, ranking 3rd in the CFL. Billy has 138 rush yards in his last 4 games. The meeting of the minds. Pinball Clemens. Kickoff is next. Of Grand Prairie, Alberta. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. If a kickoff is returned for a TD, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 are returned in this game, you could win $1 million. Good luck to you, Paul. As we turn things over now to Farhan Lalji, Marshall Ferguson, who have the call in Edmonton.
Thank you, Laura. Beautiful afternoon in Edmonton, and the home team has given the fans a lot to cheer about this season. The Elks are 6-3 and have a playoff spot firmly in their sights, taking on an Argos team that is sitting at 500, coming off 2 straight wins coming into this one. And talk about just a plethora of riches for the Toronto Argos. You lose a good receiver like Mackay Polk, and guess what? You have a guy in the queue in Jake Herslow ready to go. How much are you looking forward to seeing him make his season debut?
I think anybody who's watched the Argos this year, Farhan, has seen Jake Herslow on the side sidelines having a lot of fun. Well, now it's time for him to have fun on the field, of course. 9 touchdowns last year, a standout player for the Toronto Argonauts passing attack. I talked as well to the University of Waterloo Warriors head football coach yesterday, Chris Bertoya. He told me Tyrell Ford is the best defensive back in the Canadian Football League. The numbers back that up. Of course, tied for first in the CFL with 5 interceptions and a double last week against the Owls.
The 6-3 record for Edmonton this season has head coach Mark Killam just 1 win away from 500 percentage for his career as a head coach. Meanwhile, Mike Miller has really got his team through the most difficult part of the season with the amount the Argos have been away so far, and they are right here. They're living to tell about it. Some players on that team say the season for them actually started last week, and they're looking forward to the second half.
Coin toss. Good to see Toronto deferring away. They wanted to see Edmonton take the football and see what happens here, but I love the fact that the Edmonton Elks at home will be aggressive early on.
Javon Leake takes the opening kickoff from his own 12-yard line, crosses the 30, stumbles at the 35, where Edmonton will take over 1st and 10.
4 of the 6 losses last year for the Edmonton Elks came to Calgary, Saskatchewan, and Hamilton twice by a combined 11 points overall. Then Cody Fajardo, of course, came into the fray, and he made his mark. 16 touchdowns this year, just the 5 interceptions, and has a point to prove, I would say, here today after the loss on the road against his old club, Montreal, last week.
Elks start the game 1st and 10 from their own 35. Extra tight ends into the game right now. The handoff to Justin Rankin. No, Cody pulls it, has a receiver, and it is caught. That is Luther with a pickup of 12 yards and a 1st down.
And good to see David Beard back in the lineup here for the Edmonton Elks. Back last week, missed 3 games with a calf. He's dealing with a neck injury this week. He was limited, but he is in the lineup here today to get things going. And then Joshua Cephas is one of those guys, feels like they needed someone to step up when it comes to American receiver, and he has done that throughout this year. Starting to find his groove as we hit the midway point of the CFL season.
Jordan McSimic, the offensive coordinator, loves all of his weapons. A lot of talk about getting this guy the ball. No, still Justin Rankin, a play fake, and the reception to Austin Mack across midfield. Looks like the ball is out. That is a Darius Pickett with it. They're going to let the play run. Let's see what the officials eventually rule. But at this point, it is a fumble and a recovery for the Argos at the Edmonton 50-yard line.
Well, how about a Darius Pickett? 7 total tackles last week against the Calgary Stampeders, but not a name that we said a whole lot in the first chunk of the season. Austin Mack ends up running this little curl route in the middle of the field, as it looks like it was almost passed off there by Darkangelo, and then at the end of the play, punched out. Looks like Caesar got a hand in, and Pickett right there to pick it up. As the replay center will take a look at it.
Not sure they're going to be looking at that long. That was clearly out. The knee was not on the ground. And Toronto should be in pretty good field position to get their offense on the field for the first time in this one.
And Pickett already has a sack, forced fumble, now 2 fumble recoveries, 3 tackles for loss. Impressive start to the season for the party starter.
Play fake. Kelly looks over the middle, has a completion. That is Kevin Tall. That ball is out, but the play is blown dead at about the 29-yard line of Edmonton.
And back and forth we go early on with some decisions to be made by the referees and the replay center. Taking a look at things here is Kevin Mittal running this little crossing route, and he makes the grab, running free, gain of 21, and ripped down. Looks like he was down by contact, but Chad Kelly at the start of the season, as he climbs back into the huddle, in control and certainly on a ridiculous pace that we have seen so far. The interception number significantly higher, I'm sure, than his head coach Mike Miller would prefer at this point with 13.
This time the fake again. Ball comes out, throws it into traffic to Mittal, but that one is broken up. That is Jalen Garnes with the pass defended, and that'll bring up 2nd and 10 for Toronto.
Ryan Hunter in the lineup here at North Bay, Ontario, limited this week as well, just like David Beard that we just talked about. This time it's a knee injury for Hunter. And Jake Kerslow, as we mentioned off the top, back in the lineup here. He is one of those kind of like, you talk about the touchdown Jake Winicky of the past, the Montreal Alouettes. You get down in the score zone, you get the rangy receiver. He's got the ability to run free through coverage, deep crossing routes. Kerslow can do all of that for you as he's in motion here.
Kelly drops back to pass, pressure coming. Chip Kelly escapes, and looks like his arm might have been hit as the ball eventually falls helplessly to the turf, and Toronto will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Looks like that was Noah Taylor getting in to make the play right there at the bottom of the line as he's working one-on-one against Brandon Kemp, the right tackle, and just wins inside and creates enough mayhem for Chad Kelly to have his release point disrupted as we get a look at the Argos kicking game.
Brady Lickstraw to attempt the 36-yard field goal. Kick is up, and it is good. The Argos score 3 points off the turnover on a beautiful afternoon here in Edmonton. The home team will try to make up for that last turnover when we come back.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by The Score Bet, an official gaming partner of the CFL.
Marshall, I keep hearing that Cody Fajardo is the Rodney Dangerfield of the CFL, but if you look at this is the who's who of Canadian football at the quarterback position, and Cody's right up there in a pretty impressive category.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to see the numbers he's been able to put up, and a couple of names there from a different era as well. To get to 50 touchdown runs at this point in your career in the modern CFL, I feel like that's the most impressive part of collecting himself against this Toronto defense.
I got fooled on the last series with a couple of play fakes to Justin Rankin. This time he gets the ball. Doesn't get a yard, though. 2nd and 10 coming up after a swarming effort by the Toronto defense.
Sean Lemon, 10th all-time in Toronto sacks, despite the fact he had 3 stints with the double blue. As Darius Pickett, we've already seen him in action in his 6th year out of UCLA. And I love Bubba Bolden on the back end, like making play after play after play after play. It seems relentless in the way that he's taken over, as Greg Quick, defensive coordinator, said. They're on their 4th or 5th free safety, but he's a heck of a player.
Fajardo scrambles to his left, has a receiver. That one is Josh Cephas. Picks up a few more yards after the catch and gets into Argo territory to about the 46-yard line.
Across the 55 they go, and I love the fact that Cephas just kind of finds himself free in space here as Fajardo working the legs. Sometimes you don't have to run for yards. You just have to run to open things up down the field. I feel as though these Edmonton receivers throughout the year have kind of adjusted to what Cody is about. They've gotten comfortable with scramble rules and being creative in the open field. Cephas is certainly one of those guys.
23-yard gain on that play. Edmonton has the ball at the 47-yard line of Toronto. This time the give to Rankin. Again, nothing doing. Taken down in the backfield. That is Sione Toya with the tackle for loss.
Yeah, right in the middle of the A-gap for you. You see him starting to slash down inside right there as he's just going to blow up. Looks like Carter O'Donnell. He swims through him, gets to Justin Rankin on the interior. And his brother, Jay Toya, as well, playing with the Dallas Cowboys right now. And so the Tonga twosome getting after it, both on the north side and south side of the border. But he is a heck of a player. They loved him, bringing him in, giving him an opportunity, and early on he's made the most of it.
Fajardo drops back on 2nd and long. This time the screen is Brendan O'Leary Orange in the open field. He is cut down by Tavarius McFadden for a limited gain. Pick up a 5, and it looks like Edmonton's going to punt from here rather than attempt the long field goal.
Tavarius McFadden is one of those guys that just seems to make play after play, and he's become more physical as time has gone on as well. When he came into the Canadian Football League, it felt as though he was a little bit shying away from contact, making a couple of business decisions, and I asked him this week, he says, it's just a mindset thing. I was dealing with injuries early on that made me think twice, but as I get older, I just want to play 100% all the time. It leaves a long field goal here for Edmonton.
And it is, in fact, the field goal for Vincent Blanchard. 2nd year out of Laval. 52-yard attempt. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Vincent Blanchard ties this game at 3 with another kick from above 50 yards. When we return, Chad Kelly gets the ball back at his fingertips, looking to add to his touchdown total. Time for the Fisher Investments stat of the game, and this is not an easy thing to accomplish. Chad Kelly has won 2 games this year where he's thrown 4 interceptions. The last time that happened, your good friend from Hamilton, Danny Mack.
Yeah, of course, working with Winnipeg now, but Danny Mack, pretty special to be able to pull that off. Against all the odds, the win percentage when you throw 4 or more interceptions, .154.
Chad Kelly actually has done it 3 times, did it once a year ago. The one thing Danny used to say is if you throw 4, don't be afraid to throw 5. They're just going to keep letting it rip, no problems there. Sam Hickson with the carry picks up a yard, and that'll bring up 2nd and 9.
I wish I had that kind of confidence as the Edmonton defense. Noah Taylor just enamored with this player that's been able to make so many plays off the edge. We already saw Jared Brinkman getting into the mix as well as Malik Carney. We know everything that he is about, but when it comes to moving and shuffling things around, at this point, Kenneth Logan Jr. is out with a knee injury, so you end up getting Cordell Jackson down in, and then Therese Reed, they love him from practice from Warren Central High School, the same as Shakir Bell, a 2015 Grey Cup champion with Edmonton.
The pass complete.
Sideline.
Tyler Common with the reception. Good enough for a first down, 14 yards on that play.
Finding Tyler Common getting into their rhythm a little bit here, whether it's Herslow back into the lineup. Got to find some options outside of Mackay Polk. The Chad Kelly Argonauts fans know he leans on Polk so often on these little curl routes, just finding the soft spots in between zones. But Common, a sensational start to the season, settling in, getting used to, and adjusting to the CFL rhythms, it feels like, in the 2nd month of the year, but he's back.
Kelly drops back, looks over the middle. That pass is knocked down. Cordell Jackson in on the blitz. We'll see who got a hand on it. May have been Meyer.
Yeah, Jackson was a game-time decision with an illness against the Montreal Alouettes last week, but looks like he's firing on all cylinders here to start this one as he comes off the edge. They don't have the numbers to protect, and he's bumped down into that kind of nickel position, that extra linebacker, defensive back swing spot. And speed off the edge, essential in this J.C. Sherritt defense, the way that he schemes things up.
He normally plays boundary half, but you mentioned the injury to Kenneth Logan was forced to slight shuffling for an otherwise very consistent secondary for Edmonton. This time 2nd and long. The pass sails over the head of DeMonte Coxie, and Toronto will have to punt.
Yeah, they love this with DeMonte Coxie, trying to get him on the comeback route. The problem is when you lose your footing, you can see the frustration from Coxie here as he's going to get up here, just headed back to the sideline. As he gets right into the cushion of Tyrell Ford, breaks, but can't hang on. I remember there being the Grey Cup back here. What was it, 2018 for him, when everybody said, "Oh, the field was frozen." I'm like, well, no, it's different, and it's been replaced since and all the rest. But unfortunately, some of the sliding remains once in a while at the break.
Javon Leake with his 41st punt return of the season, a CFL high, which speaks well of how good Edmonton's defense has been this year in terms of forcing punts. When we come back, Justin Rankin still looking for his first yard of the game, hoping to break out in Edmonton. Justin Rankin begins this drive on the sideline with Javon Leake in the game. It's been an interesting tale of 2 halves of the first half of the season for Rankin.
And just 15 carries and 2 catches over the last 2 games as well. Failed to record a catch for the first time this year in Week 10. But yeah, I love that he is trying to find a way. But even at the start of this drive, he's not on the field because they're mixing in Javon Leake a little bit more. The return specialist, formerly of the Toronto Argonauts. Maybe they want to use him to twist the knife a little bit, stealing away 22.
3-3 midway through the 2nd quarter. Pump fake by Fajardo, who looks over the top, has a reception. That is TJ Luther on the sideline. Nice gain on first down.
And I felt like the biggest fan of that one was Austin Mack, who was actually running a little bit free down the seam, but I think Cody got locked into the outside here as he was kind of reading it inside out. He popped to try and get that move, but fitting it into a tight window in between Cam Judge and Caesar and Benji Franklin and TJ Luther for a gain of 18. One of those players that's really stepped up alongside Joshua Cephas so far this year for Edmonton, the receiving corps.
Takes it out to the 36-yard line. This time the quick pitch. It is Leake trying to turn the corner. Good gain on first down, maybe about 6, possibly 7 before he's brought down.
Yeah, love D'Arcangelo chasing this down, but how about the 2 blocks out in front, trying to get a little bit of leverage. You're going to see the kick and another kick here. And they get Jordan Murray, the tackle out in front. They pin down the defensive end. Javon Leake is cutting it back, but D'Arcangelo, if he's not there, that's a 20, 30-yard gain at this point because they blocked that up so well off the edge. They got basically 3/4 of the blocks you need to spring that for a huge one, but D'Arcangelo, the free man, makes it.
Argos showing pressure. This time Leak runs right into it, gets through the first wave, and has a first down across Edmonton's 50.
And this is the beauty, to me, Farhan, of what they do with the Edmonton power running game as an Argonaut down. But you'll see just like a trap inside as they're going to block down, get the defensive tackle, and then kick around. An extra big body in there is Mark Cordy, who blows up the defensive end. And they'll lead right in behind it. But downhill physical running. At the start of the year, Edmonton had an embarrassment of riches at the offensive line. Despite losing Coulter Woodmansey, they still have many big bodies with a lot of presence that know how to block things up in the Canadian Football League game.
Jonathan Kongbo, the injured player for the Argos, player who actually resurrected his career last year here in Edmonton, sat out the 2024 season before Ed Hervey brought him back. We're going to take a break. This game tied at 3 when we come back to Commonwealth. Jonathan Kongbo walked off on his own power. Cody Fajardo, meanwhile, you would think that people around this organization would be happy at 6-3 given what they've been through despite a 2-game losing streak. We'll send it down to Tommy Gazzola, who tells us Cody Fajardo is not interested in being satisfied.
No, Farhan. He says don't use that sentence, the season starts on Labor Day, to him, because he despises it. Absolutely disgusted when you bring it up. He says look no further than the Elks of last year. They started the year 1-6, got to 4-6 by the Labor Day Classic, dropped that game at McMahon Stadium, and then you look at this year, they put themselves into the driver's seat at 6-3. He's been telling the guys, hey, consider this a sprint in the next 2 games to that bye week. Rest, recuperate, get yourself into the right headspace to attack the second half of the season, but absolutely detests saying the season doesn't start till Labor Day in the CFL.
And you see how good Fajardo has been in close games. That really is a strength of his, making sure everybody around him believes as long as there's any time left in the clock. This time the handoff, it's Leak again, stutters in the hole, finds a crease, gets to about midfield. Gain of 4, maybe 5 yards on that play.
And I'm with Cody on this as well, as he's had a fantastic July that we get to look at, but wins and losses count the same whether it's week 1 or week number 21. But when you look at the middle of the season in July, the career highs that he's been able to work in terms of single game performance, and I think part of this is what we were talking about previously, which is Justin Rankin. They were defending him a little bit. It opens things up in the passing game. Jordan McSimic evolves the attack, but now at some point Rankin's going to factor back into this heavily.
Second and medium, checks it out to Leak, who manages to almost break the first tackle, gets tripped up, thought he was going to shake free there, but he will be short of the first down.
And Leak taking a little bit of the blame, taps the chest as he came out on the little circle route. This time you'll see him swing back in this direction and just trying to get a bit of a leverage release on Isaac D'Arcangelo. The linebacker there cuts back inside, but Adarius Pickett, as always, right there to help.
Jake Julian on to attempt the punt. Grant is going to let it go as it steps inside the end zone. Looks like Grant's going to give up the single here.
In the year of the non-single, we have one.
Certainly played itself out in that Thursday game with BC and Calgary. Right. That missed field goal that went through really changed the complexion of the final couple of minutes in that game. But Janarian, with a chance to return it, wisely took the field position.
And Jake Herslow back on the turf here at Virginia Beach, Virginia, making his way into the double blue. And sensational year last year. Jumped onto our radars. Hurdling Herslow was the great Rod Smith. Defined him, but certainly always seemed open through 13 games played. Those 9 touchdowns looming large as well for Nick Arbuckle as he had a massive year in relief of Chad Kelly. I love the way Herslow's game just fits seamlessly into what the Argonauts tend to want to do. Is this time he'll block for Unger.
The quick screen to Unger. Isn't able to pick up much there before Kobe Williams brings him down, gain of 5.
Yeah, I think they might have thought that it was going to be a screen to Herslow because the defensive backs decided to try and jump Herslow as quickly as possible as Cordell Jackson. He's used to playing half like we mentioned, Jarhan, so he's coming downhill as quickly as he possibly can, but gets over the top to Unger. Not the prettiest of deliveries, but does half the deal.
2nd and 5 here, coming up for Chad Kelly, who drops back to pass, looks to his left, has a receiver. That's Unruh again, has the first down. Crosses midfield, has some room before being brought down. Joel DeBlanco with the tackle there after the good gain by the Idaho product.
Pullman Washington going up against Joel DeBlanco, who has that success as well. As he waggles down, you'll see him cut back to the out. Getting in and around, run into the sticks. They clear out with Kevin Mittal. Go vertical on the outside, run the corner off. As Toronto goes quickly back to the line.
That's Sam Hicks with the carry, the rare carry. Picks up 4 on that play. Tied for 8th in attempts. That's not a high number for a starting running back in this league. This offense is all about Chad Kelly.
The percentages have been leaning that way. But didn't we know that when they decided to go with Mike Miller as the head coach and they hired internally? You went, okay, yeah, I know what the Argonauts are going to be. I don't need to see a single snap in training camp.
Just 60 carries coming into this game for Hicks. Kelly drops back. Looks left again, throws to the sideline. Penalty flag out on the play. Looks like it's going to be pass interference on J.J. Ross against DeMonte Coxie.
You remember that comeback earlier? I said they love running DeMonte Coxie on that as Cordell Jackson makes his argument with the official on the sideline.
Edmonton number 29. Automatic first down, the spot of the foul.
And this is the danger of the DeMonte Coxie experience if you're defending, is he's going to try to get up here, but at some point, there's just going to be too much contact because Yard Sharp is going vertical outside release, trying to get, slams on the brakes, and as soon as he does, he tries to fight back to that back shoulder. If you're in bad position, you start wrestling, well, flags are going to come out.
14 yards net on that penalty. Hard to argue with that call, as much as Edmonton tried.
There is a wrestling show at halftime here, though. There is today. And in Hamilton as well. Setting the tone.
Kelly with the play fake, pressure on him, and he throws it away wisely before being brought down. That was Cordell Jackson again on the blitz. Not much chance for Kelly there.
Yeah, off the screen. Coming in from the wide side this time is Cordell Jackson. I mean, this is the thing about this Edmonton defense I love is it doesn't matter if it's Shaylin Garden's playing free safety. He can roll the boundary halfback, or he can play that nickel spot, or you can have the wonderful element of Kenneth Logan Jr., or you can throw Cordell Jackson down. They're all kind of interchangeable, very similar to Montreal's defense where they can all make plays in the same kind of spirit.
Kelly on 2nd and 10. Sets up a screen. This one to Mittal. Makes one man miss, but not enough blockers out in front of him before he is eventually brought down by Therese Reed, who is playing his first CFL game.
And I wonder if they just missed an assignment here on the inside as they were trying to get to the second level and play with those linebackers. Joel DeBlanco, number 50, you see to the right-hand side of your screen there. He's going to step in, and both offensive linemen turn back towards him, making life difficult. And Kevin Mittal left with an extra body or two to try and dance with.
Brady Lidster with his first attempt good, on for his second from just outside the 35. And that kick is wide. Leak with the return, decides to bring it out, gets out to his own 5-yard line. And a miss from fairly short for Lidster, who's been so good since coming in place of Liram Haralahu this season.
Yeah, certainly they feel like they found some solutions here. The hold isn't a problem. Snap was on the money as well, and Lister just pushed this one a little bit wide here at the end of the first quarter. So taking points off the board for a Toronto team that has played so many games on the road. It's not as though this is a foreign surrounding for them being in new and different positions, but a miss will certainly hurt in the early goings of this one in Week 11.
Cody Fajardo lines up at his own goal line in the shadow of the goalpost. 1st and 10 from the 5 for Edmonton. This time the play fake. He's got a receiver. That's Luther in the flat. Picks up a gain of 7, close to 8, actually close to 10. Probably won't pick up the first down, but right there.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going after Sean Lemon a little bit here with the read as you see Justin Rankin and the pull right there from Cody Fajardo. One too many steps downhill from Sean Lemon and TJ Luther. Even if it doesn't look pretty or explosive, it certainly does the job early on. Is now Fajardo using his legs as we've seen so much this season with those 50 career rushing touchdowns as of last week.
Lots of extra linemen on the left side of that short yardage formation. Fajardo takes it out to his own 20-yard line. Final few seconds of the first quarter. Edmonton 1st and 10. This time, another play fake. Fajardo rolls to his right, has a receiver. It's Luther again, who fumbles the ball, but not before it goes out of bounds.
Certainly think that Darius Pickett might love playing against the Edmonton Elks based on the way that he's attacking here early today. Again, just a little basic throw out into the flats. Luther makes the grab. Punch. Loose, but out of bounds. Luther saved by the sideline on that one.
They're calling that a catch and a fumble, so the ball gets brought back to where he fumbled from. That'll bring up 2nd and 3 for Edmonton on what should be the final play of this quarter, barring a penalty. Rankin, the handoff, not much running room. He continues to fight. Gets maybe a yard or two, but I think he's going to come up short, and Mark Killam will have a decision to make when we open the second quarter. After 1 quarter of play, it is the road team trailing by 1. Edmonton up 4-3. Edmonton has the ball when we come back to Commonwealth. Scoring game as we open the second quarter, but the teams have managed to move the football. Not surprising. Cody Fajardo is the master of consistency once again.
Yeah, 5 rushing yards right now for the Toronto Argonauts is interesting to see that they haven't really leaned into that whatsoever. But for me, it's Justin Rankin, right? Trying to find a way to get him more involved in the game plan, get back to the early season ways. It feels like Mike Benavides with the BC Lions when they started to solve Edmonton's running game a little bit in the 2 games they had against Edmonton. It really did change the way the rest of the league was looking at Rankin.
Big third down coming up, and that takes us back to last week when Mark Killam, in not a similar situation. That was at the end of the half as opposed to the start of the second quarter, but we'll see if he's going to go for it here. He got some criticism last week.
Yeah, he certainly did. And talked to him this week about it. After the game on the road in Montreal, he said 3rd and 1 is its own entity, and everything over about 1.5 yards, the percentage goes down and down and down. As we see here, Austin Mack getting close, Cody begging for it, and then being fired up as you would expect from CF7. And then they decided to go for the field goal. But the biggest lesson that Killam said he took out of that I think should be noted for any Edmonton fan, or really any CFL fan watching Edmonton the rest of the year, is he basically said, when Cody's that fired up, I should just trust him. It doesn't matter what the situation is. I need to trust my starting quarterback more.
Fajardo with the sneak again gets the first down. This time he goes away from the heavy line to pick up the necessary yardage. And he appreciates when Cody runs hot because he himself is that guy. Mark Killam is an emotional, fiery coach.
100%. And Cody actually told us this week that he loved that about Jason Moss when he was in Montreal as well. So it was a little bit ironic that he was in Montreal when he had that fired up moment, because he kind of felt like he could have been looking at the other sideline and seeing Davis Alexander or Jason Moss doing the exact same thing. Bit of a mirror image, the 2 teams that played last week, as Edmonton comes home this time.
The handoff to Rankin, bounces to his left, nothing there as the Argos defense swarms downhill and limits him to a gain of maybe 1 yard. Dwayne Hendricks right there.
Yeah, Hendricks, D'Angelo, everybody right into the middle of the plays. You see Fajardo spin around. They're trying to load the box. They're trying to get heavy. They're trying to have Austin Mack lead his way up through the hole, but when Rankin makes that jump cut to the left, Hendricks is right there waiting for him.
Brings up 2nd and 9 for Edmonton here. Remember, this drive began at their own 5-yard line after the missed field goal. Fajardo looks over the middle, has a receiver. It's Brendan O'Leary Orange, who stops up with more than enough yardage for the first down as the sticks move.
Love the spacing concept here. You fly the running back out on a bit of a swing pass going this direction to get some attention, and then you just hook it up over the middle in between the coverage. A little pitch and catch from Cody Fajardo, seeing it clean. Offensive line doing a great job giving him throwing lanes as well.
Fajardo 9 for 9 to start this game, which actually doesn't surprise me. The completions are what we've come to expect from Cody.
Easy money.
Rankin swings out again. Fajardo looks inside again. This time it's Josh Cephas with his second reception of the game. Good for another first down after a gain of 11.
Super similar concept here as well, going in the same direction as you see Rankin in the backfield. And he'll sprint his way out. They're basically just trying to stretch the outside linebackers of the Toronto Argonauts here. This time picking on a Darius Pickett, just trying to get him to chase the running back. And as soon as he widens beyond 18, he'll settle it down, creates the throwing window on back-to-back plays.
The 9th play of this drive. Just take what you give him. Argos show pressure. Cody Fajardo goes down. That is Bubba Bolden from his safety spot takes down the Edmonton quarterback.
Well, the riverboat gambler from Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of the University of Miami, as he ends up flying in. You'll see him right off the edge here. And just a mess in the backfield. It looked like cross signals, and they were trying to get horizontal with the offensive concept, and Bolden wasn't waiting for Edmonton to try and figure things out.
Loss of 6 on that play is going to bring up 2nd and 16. Fajardo drops back the pass, steps up into the pocket, has some room to his left. He sees part, and Fajardo gets more than 20. He is still going. Fajardo across the Argo 20 before being brought down. What a play by the Elks quarterback.
Love this from Cody Fajardo. They go 4 receivers to the right. The only defender on the backside is Tavares McFadden. And Cody Fajardo is going to see with all of the attention to his right. That's where he's trying to go. If you chase him in coverage like McFadden did, there's nobody home on the backside. D'Arcangelo was the only one chasing Justin Rankin. Basically left 2 defenders there to Cody's left, so he sees some green grass, the turf out here at Commonwealth, and the wheels turn on. You don't see it as often as he did early in his career with Toronto, Saskatchewan, but he knows exactly when to pull the trigger.
44-yard gain down to the Toronto 16-yard line as Edmonton is into the red zone. This time the high snap, but we've got whistles on the play and a penalty flag in the end zone. And this one's going to be
violation. Edmonton number 7, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Yeah, difficulty getting organized that time for David Beard back in the lineup as of last week, and Fajardo maybe getting lucky with that one after the high snap was a bit of a rush.
Fajardo's career long rush was 48 yards, so he's just 4 yards off that. This is probably the one area where Edmonton wants to get better. They're 51% in the red zone, 18 of 35, which is good for 8th in the league. They don't start the red zone portion of this drive well with that penalty. That'll bring up 1st and 15. Fajardo with the quick drop, looks inside to Rankin. Rankin breaks one near the end zone, but he's not going to get there. Not getting it done in the backfield, so he can do it out of the backfield right now. Justin Rankin with 20 yards down to the 1.
Yeah, Rankin started as a slot back here in Edmonton. They let him go, brought him back, said, we want you to be a true running back, but he's always going to be able to add this to his skill set as he comes down just about a yard shy of the goal line. Again, Bubba Bolden there to finish things off. But multiple slants as they empty things out 3 by 3, and Deshaun Amos looks like he's in some discomfort.
Amos, a veteran presence in that Argos secondary. Rankin made him miss on the play when he cut back inside.
We'll get another look at it here to see Rankin catching a run, and Amos trying to be the first man to make contact in the arm tackle attempt, and it looks like that arm, elbow, wrist might have got caught up awkwardly on the powerful lower body of Justin Rankin.
13th play of the drive coming up when we come back. Celebrate television's best on a night that's always full of surprises as Mariska Hargitay hosts the Emmys live Monday, September 14th on CTV and Crave.
Good to see Deshaun Amos up onto his feet there on the sidelines. By the way, Mariska Hargitay, the biggest Knicks fan of their championship run. Jalen Brunson said she's the favorite celebrity that she saw.
There was a lot of celebrities during that run.
Everyone was out.
Snyder into the game for the short yardage. And he's in. Touchdown, Edmonton. Impressive drive, 105 yards, capped off by the quarterback sneak.
Murray, the right tackle, gets the honors. He spikes it in after the slant catch by Justin Rankin. Snyder slides his way to the left-hand side. See Brett Boyko in the middle of the fray there is Chris Pashula as well onto the roster this week. The University of Calgary Dino rookie helping out as extra weight in the short yardage package for the Edmonton Elks to power their way into the end zone.
A 13-play, 105-yard drive in 5:49. A classic Cody Fajardo time-consuming drive puts the Elks up 11-3. Still plenty of time to go in the second quarter. Murray and the Elks celebrate an Elks touchdown. This drive began at Edmonton's 5-yard line when Javon Leake took out that missed field goal. I wondered if it was a good idea. Cody Fajardo said, I got you.
Why not? As long as you're efficient, you start to pick them apart with a couple of curl routes in between, running with the legs as well, breaking one free. As you said, Brown, just a couple shy of his career long, and then you get the slant complete to your running back, who's as good as the slot as any back in the entire CFL. And Cole Snyder punches it in. Jordan Murray, by the way, that's got a chance to spike it. Bit awkward. It's because he has the longest arms in the entire CFL when it comes to offensive tackles. 35 inches plus for the big man. Takes a lot of effort to spike the football.
Still looking for our first Cody Fajardo incompletion of the game. This time Grant gets it across his own 40 before being stood up by a host of Elks. Chad Kelly will start from here. Let's take a look at Chad Kelly and the success he's had against the West.
Yeah, he has been dominant. You get the sense that based on his background, where he played in university, all the rest, that he loves playing in some of the bigger stadiums. Certainly when you see that in Saskatchewan and all the rest, that 4-0 record, that he appreciates making the longer trips. Maybe it gets him a little bit more into his rhythm and makes it feel like home. And when Chad Kelly is in rhythm, watch out.
Kelly looks to throw quick, has to hang on to it, then gets it across to Vital. Picks up about 5 before eventually working his way backwards. Call it only 2 on the game.
And we talk about Chad Kelly playing against the West. Well, we just saw Nick Anderson there in the middle of that play as well. Keep in mind, he's only played games against the East so far this year. The star middle linebacker here for the Double E, as he started the year against Ottawa, played 2 games against Montreal, and now against Toronto. This is just his 4th game of the season, but you got to think that opponents from the West have got to be thanking their lucky stars. They haven't had to see much of 48 this year.
Kelly looks to the right to Coxie. They're calling it a completion, but I think he's going to be well short of the first down here.
We're going to have to trademark Coxie comeback. He just over and over and over. I'm not sure if it's the vertical threat that they're trying to threaten with, if it's the film they're working off of last week, but once again, you're going to see him work his way up here and just head towards the sideline. It was against Tyrell Ford earlier. Now it's J.J. Ross as well, as the big body, and he's so good at being able to just get detached from defenders, but not enough for the first down.
Watch the sideline, Dave. He's coming down.
The punt takes Leake back to his own 10-yard line. Well placed by James Burnup. The FedEx St. Jude Championship continues tomorrow with the final round. Watch live from 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific on TSN, CTV, and Crave. How's your golf game, Marsh?
Sold the clubs. Too busy in the summer, man.
Smart. Very smart.
The number of times I disappointed people for several years of, hey, do you want? No, can't. I just said, you know what? It's time to let the 9-iron go live with someone else.
Cody 11 for 11 so far to start this game. The fake rolls to his right again. And his first incompletion of the game. Josh Cephas on the other end of that.
Tavares McFadden right there with the coverage. Told us this week, anybody with eyes can see how strange the start to our year has been. long flights, big adjustment, but all that matters is trying to win every single rep, and he certainly gets that one as we see Sean Lemon dive to the inside, get 2-3 blockers as Carter O'Donnell and a host of Elks have to deal with the veteran.
I'm going to blame our statistician Dave Moyer, who told me that the record for consecutive completions at the start of the game was 16 by Jake Mayer. As soon as he said it, incomplete. Hall of Famer Dave Moyer, that's what happens. This time Fajardo with his deepest attempt of the game, and that is broken up. Benji Franklin right there on Austin Mack, and Edmonton will have to punt.
And Greg Quick, defensive coordinator this week, telling us one guarantee: the only thing you'll get is challenges. It's how you answer them. Well, certainly Cody Fajardo getting off to a heater at the start of this game is one of those challenges, but the defense starting to tighten down the clamps just a little bit as Benji Franklin thinks he should have come away with an interception on that one, but zone coverage dialing in on the corner route from Fajardo and company.
Jake Julian on to punt with Janarian Grant awaiting at his own 42-yard line. This punt is high and short. Grant's going to let it bounce, and it's going to bounce out of bounds inside Edmonton territory. Just a 33-yard punt there for Julian. Chad Kelly is going to love his field position when he comes back. A beautiful afternoon in Edmonton for the Argos and Elks. 3 targets for DeMonte Coxie today, just 1 catch for 6 yards. He was a lot busier last week, though.
Yeah, led Toronto 161 receiving yards, 8 catches against the Stampeders, second highest single game total of his career, and obviously a playmaker that we have come to understand. No matter who the opponent is, if it's start of the season, end of the season, especially with Chad Kelly at quarterback, he loves looking Coxie's way, especially vertically. Today we've seen a lot of the comeback game, but at some point they will definitely test J.J. Ross and Tyrell Ford down the field.
Yeah, he's had 5 catches of over 30 yards this season. This time to give to Hicks, who was cut down in the backfield.
Season's worth of work for DeMonte Coxie. This is what it would look like at the end of last season, the start of this year. 90 catches. Look at that yards number. 1,500 plus. The 8 touchdowns, which actually seems low considering that Chad Kelly can let it fly at any given point. And I got a feeling he's going to beat that number.
Cordell Jackson with the tackle for loss on that last play. This time Edmonton brings 1 extra. Kelly, they pick it up. He looks for Mittal. A little bit high for the Laval product. That one falls incomplete. And that brings up 3rd down.
They're trying to get vertical here as they were run a little bit of a 4 verts concept up inside, vert here, and then clear to the outside. And they go with Mittal here as he tries to get underneath Cordell Jackson, but on the backside there is Shane Lagarde, the free safety that makes his way down to hammer Mittal. Big body, great hands, and expanding his route package over the last year and a half, but that one incomplete.
Brady Lidster missed a 36-yarder earlier, made one as well. This would be his longest field goal of the season, 53 yards. He's made one from 52. Looks like a challenge flag is out from Mike Miller.
Does he think the contact came early on Mittal?
How about the hit on Chad Kelly there? Anything there?
Yeah, as the ball comes out, I mean, maybe if it was low.
Toronto is challenging the previous play for roughing the passer. The play will give review.
And right here, it looks like Jared Brinkman, or is it Nick Anderson? Maybe that's playing right in the middle of that A gap, right over the football. As Anderson does get in, hits him in around the hip, the side of the leg. Don't think it was overly late. Doesn't look terribly low.
Yeah, the initial contact certainly looked like it was above the knee. That's usually what they use to determine a low hit, not where the hit ends, but where it starts.
Kelly no worse for wear, thankfully for Argonauts fans, but definitely absorbed the blow from Anderson coming in.
Let's hear from Tim Croker.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. Toronto, by losing a challenge, has lost a timeout. It's still 3rd down.
Nick Anderson celebrates.
Not sure if Chad Kelly was calling for the challenge. Sometimes the coach has got to back his quarterback in those situations. Let's see what Lidster can do here from 53. Kick is up. Looks like it's going to be long enough, but it's wide. This time Leak takes it out again. Gets across his own 20 before he's being brought down at his own 29-yard line.
Ever dangerous Javon Leak. Love the energy that he gives this offense. Starting field position so important in the Canadian Football League, and the Edmonton Elks have been thriving on it this year as Lidster dialed in, but the second time in this ball game, the Mountain Air starting to push the Wilson a little bit wide on him, and Javon Leak happy to receive.
Plenty of time left here in the first half as Fajardo takes over 1st and 10 from his 29. Another play fake and gets the ball out quick. It looks like Josh Cephas again brought down immediately. Bubba Bolden with the tackle. Let's send it down to Tom Gazzola, who's got a few injury updates.
All right, Farhan, we saw Bubba Bolden make the tackle there. He did go under the tent, had the pads off. He's obviously good to go. The Argos say all clear there. And then Deshaun Amos earlier went to the tent as well. He was clenching his right arm, and it was a little bit lower, but the Argos say he's also good to go.
Farhan, I've never seen a headshot that looks so much like the person in reality than Tom Gazzola.
This time the quick pass to Brendan O'Leary Orange. Good enough for the first down across the 40-yard line.
Spot on. Brendan O'Leary Orange becoming a bigger and bigger part of this offense in the intermediate passing game, doing some of the dirty work. The underrated free agency addition from the Hamilton Tiger Cats by way of Winnipeg early on in his career.
You look nothing like you do in live than you, compared to what you look like on television.
I just photograph poorly. That's what that is. I'm like Tom.
Fajardo this time gives the ball to Rankin, and once again there is nothing there.
Run defense from the Argonauts interior. Big bounce back after allowing 340 pass yards a game through the first 7 games. They had a gem against Calgary through the air, and now on the ground following the game plan. And Darius Pickett, Cam Judge, if your linebackers are getting there clean and meeting together right at the point of attack for a loss, that means your defensive line is doing something special.
Elks are 6 for 10 on 2nd down so far in the game. Let's see what they do here on 2nd and long. Fajardo with the deep drop, checks it down to Justin Rankin. Makes the first man miss. Sean Lemon gets involved. Eventually, Isaac D'Arcangelo there to clean things up. Well short of the first down. And Jake Julian on to attempt another punt.
That's one of those that we saw early on in the year where you know that Justin Rankin, as he swings out this direction, is going to do something special because he understands if you keep your legs moving, you'll get a couple of blocks, you'll find some room, you'll go into space and make the best of it. But over the last month and a bit, it has been a different story than the start of the season.
3 minutes to go. Edmonton with an 8-point lead. They'll be on to punt. Another opportunity for Chad Kelly and his teammates to drive the field for their first touchdown of the game.
Final preparations underway. You got there, buddy. You got there. We'll be talking about what's gone down in this first half. The Elks on top. Plus, we'll start to look ahead to game number 2 of the doubleheader in Hamilton. You good, everyone?
We're good.
We're good. Attendance. Okay.
Thank you, Laura. Not sure how you do it with that crew.
Surviving. Chazzy blowing up my phone in game, by the way.
They'll bring the energy at halftime.
Nobody sends more texts per quarter than Chez during live games.
Julian just 33 yards on his last punt. Janarian Grant deep to receive this one. End over end. That one 43 yards. Grant takes it to the sideline and gets run out of bounds across the 35-yard line.
Janarian Grant talked about Chad Kelly with us this week, and said it seems like everything has kind of fallen in place with the identity of this team, mentality of Chad Kelly, the coaching staff, the aggression, the trust they have in me as a returner. He's a pretty low-key guy, Janarian Grant, but just like Javon Leak on the other side, if you can give them a little bit of field position, Kelly will always take advantage.
Kelly 2-0 in his career against Edmonton, as you saw earlier. This time drops back to pass, looks to the right side, has a receiver, and that is complete. Tyler Common with the reception. 9 yards.
Yeah, Emporia State. He talked about playing with Chad Kelly earlier this year to me as well. He said he's very direct, which helps a receiver get an understanding of exactly what he wants out of you at this point. As you see the little stutter and then to the out. Don't often see the half-speed out route. But the hesitation paying dividends as Nick Anderson making a play here.
Flags on the play. That might be Chad Kelly, who got nothing on the sneak. Didn't get close to the first down there. Didn't like how he was handled. You see Anderson flying over the top and pulls him down. Kelly did not like that when he got up and the flags flew.
Timed it perfectly. And did Dakota Shepley take some liberties with the former Argo Jared Brinkman at the end of the play?
That is a big penalty after the play because they were short. They were going to have to make a decision to go for it on third down. Oh, they're going back the other way. Surprised that's the way it went. No decision to be made here now after that.
Yeah, that's a
after
big
the
one.
play, 15-yard misconduct foul against Toronto number 64. It'll be third down.
Dakota Shepley, former 5th overall pick of the Saskatchewan Roughriders back 8 years ago, just trying to protect his guy. Separate him from the pile, but they would have been in a good position to give it another kick at the can, if for not the penalty.
James Burnham on to attempt the punt. Spiral near the sideline for Leak. Not much yards there and not much room there, but he still finds a way to pick up a couple following the 50-yard punt.
It's Austin Mack comes back out here at Commonwealth as we see the look at his season at large. Currently the Fort Wayne, Indiana native, formerly with the Montreal Alouettes, and this is a projection in 2026 and where it would land him amongst where he had been with his career best season back in 2023, of course, the Montreal Alouettes, as he was a rookie. And the yardage total, again, just like DeMonte Coxie, kind of mind-blowing to see how it's exploded this year. So many receivers reaching for career highs.
Fajardo from his own 34. This time the handoff to Leak. Able to fight his way forward. Maybe 4 yards on the gain, and he's got a few yards that Justin Rankin simply hasn't been able to generate.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point about the receivers kind of exploding with Austin Mack, DeMonte Coxie, the guys in this game, 48 games this year of 100-plus yards, on pace for 101 across the league so far this year. There was just 66 last season. So we're seeing at the start of the year the quarterbacks were going crazy. Now the defenses are catching up, but regardless, the receivers are still finding a way. It seems like it rotates because there's so many talented pass catchers across this league.
Fajardo looks quick, has to pull it down before being brought down. That is Soani Toia with the sack, his second big defensive play of the game, and Edmonton's going to have to punt.
And all about coverage here, right? Cody Fajardo was so good at getting the football out of his hands quickly, diagnosing. Like, he will typically go from 1 to 2, maybe 3 to get the football out of his hands. You can see him here work to the right, come back over the middle, check down, nope, Darkangelo's there, and by that time, the pass rush is already eaten up any potential running lane that we saw out to that left-hand side. Fajardo escaped earlier on.
Jake Julian on to attempt another punt here. Grant sprinting up for another one. Penalty flag on the play after the 41-yard punt. Looks like that's going to be a no yards call. Coming up, the CFL on TSN will return tonight as the Rough Riders play the Ticats. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Rough Riders are rolling. Another opportunity for Harrison Frost and the Ticats.
The panel filling in for us in between. The big question, though, as the panel gets ready to entertain us at halftime with Laura Chesney, Enoch Mwamba, and Milt Stiegel here, Fawn, is I'm getting the flight out after the game. Losing a couple of hours going from Edmonton back to Hamilton. Can I catch the fourth quarter from Hamilton Stadium in person if I get out of here at the end of the game quickly enough?
Well, if the panel goes long, delays kickoff.
That one's on Enoch. He's going to have to fill.
Chad Kelly with pressure in his face. High throw. Intercepted by Kobe Williams. Flag on the play, but Williams has some room in front of him. Cuts back inside. No, out of bounds at the 35-yard line. There is a penalty flag. Another penalty flag after the play. We'll see what the first one is, but the way Chad Kelly is reacting, he thinks it's going to be roughing the passer, which would bring that interception back. The second call, the second flag looks like some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct, late hit type of call. Tim Croker and the officials gathering to discuss. Let's take a look.
As we look at the top of your screen there, and it will be, looks like Noah Taylor flying off the edge as he slants down inside and gets the hands up high on Chad Kelly. Tim Croker, the referee, immediately throws the flag. So that's the first one, and it should be the most significant of the two.
Edmonton averaging almost 9 penalties per game coming into this, which is the second worst in the league.
Foul, roughing the passer, Toronto number 42. After the play, 15-yard misconduct foul against Toronto 61. The yardage will balance. It's first down.
Huge penalty by the Elks on that one.
And it looks like that Brandon Kemp right there that comes in and maybe tries to clean the clock of a standing Elk. And the old tourist going for a wander. It'll get you every time.
Quick drop and throw to DeMonte Coatsy. Tries to break through. Gets past the first one, but not much in the way of additional yardage after that. 5 on the play.
You gotta laugh at that, though, because DeMonte Coatsy has 2 and 3 defenders wrapped up around his legs, and he never ends up on the ground. It's one of my favorite things from those strong lower body receivers. You look at Coatsy, you're like, he's not the biggest guy, he's not the thickest, he's not a yards after catch monster, but you see him fight through contact like that. He just ends the play by stepping out of bounds on a whistle.
Call it 6 yards in the game. That brings him 2nd and 4. Edmonton showing blitz, and that one is complete. Kevin Mittal, who has room. Mittal across the 20, across the 10, and brought down just shy of the goal line. A 51-yard catch and run. And it's Terrell Ford who makes the game-saving, or the touchdown-saving tackle.
There they go. They bring the heat. Everyone's going to come downhill here and trying to jump the route, but missing the mark is Shaylin Garnes. And as soon as Chad Kelly sees that flat line and he knows that he's got man, if you don't rotate down into it quickly enough, Kevin Mittal just throws him to the outside away from coverage, and it's that top-end 40-yard dash speed of Terrell Ford that saves the day after 51 yards.
Nick Arbuckle on with the short yardage unit. 1st and goal for Toronto from the 1-yard line as they trail by 8 with just over a minute to play in the first half. Arbuckle goes left, and they're giving him the touchdown. Nick Arbuckle into the end zone for the Argos.
Solid answer from the Toronto Argonauts here, sitting at 4-4 on the year, back on the road where they've lived so much of their existence, all but one of their games. Of course, last week at home against the Calgary Stampeders, and Nick Arbuckle, the ever-present steadying force, as he leans forward past Daryl Jabome, and they'll go for 2 as well, keep the offense out here.
Yeah, down 2 points with a minute to go. Certainly a lot of time to make that up, but Mike Miller trying to be aggressive. I'm sure that's what Chad Kelly wanted him to do, so they'll get a chance to get 2 more points here from the 3-yard line in the final minute.
I always wonder, Farm, when you send in the backup quarterback to go short yardage, were you planning on going for 2, or is it Chad goes to the sideline and goes, hey, Mike, if we score, can I go back on? Or start to convince him on the sideline?
Edmonton bringing pressure. The pass is incomplete. Tyler Common can't bring it in.
Another look at the touchdown here from Nick Arbuckle as the Edmonton Elks hold and keep this a 2-point game. And we see the all-out blitz across the board. Again, chasing down, and all it takes his one wrong step and an accurate throw. And Kevin Mittal breaking away from coverage again. Tyrell Ford is one of the fastest players in the CFL. He's going to have that top end speed to chase down Mittal. It's not really Mittal's game, but going for the 2-point conversion as well. Common had his hands on it. And a good job by Trez Reed, who's been making a ton of plays in practice, according to head coach Markell, to get in between and break that one up.
See what Cody Fajardo can answer with here with a minute to go. Setting up for what should be a very entertaining second half here. You never know, at some point one of these teams might actually run the ball too.
I doubt it. I mean, it is refreshing though, seeing, like, we've seen the evolution at the start of the season. The quarterbacks can go wild, throw for 400 yards in any given game, 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns. Defense is starting to catch up a little bit, and we're getting more of these games where it feels like the defense is holding quarterbacks more accountable and not allowing them to rip it up and down the field relentlessly in any way that they want.
Brady Lidster set to kick off. Javon Leake deep to return. Lidster a short, high kick. Leake takes it at his own 20-yard line. Finds some space on the left, and he is cut down. That is Jalen Ram with the low tackle. Spectacular end-over-end for Leake here.
I want to make an impact on special teams. All you got to do is fly in Jack Cassar alongside Jalen Ram, and what a shot with special teams coordinator Mickey Donovan standing in the background there as well, appreciating the physicality of his unit. They might be struggling a little bit in the kicking game. Keep in mind, the Argonauts should be ahead at this point if they knocked through a pair of field goals that were within the range of Brady Lidster, but the coverage unit never in doubt.
Yeah, Castor with the tackle there. Fajardo hands off to Rankin, who's still looking for something. It's a couple, maybe. That might be his longest gain of the game, just 2 yards.
Jonathan Kongbo got a heck of a shot flying down from the backside as well and let Rankin know about it. And the running back that felt untouchable at the start of the season, just trying to find any free space at this point. Just the one big slant catch early on in this one.
Fajardo looks quick to throw, has a receiver on the sideline, overthrows Austin Mack. And the Elks will have to punt.
I get the thought. I mean, you're trying to protect your receiver, end of the half, stop the clock. Austin Mack, lead him to the outside. You see Cody shaking his head a little bit on that one. The thought was right. The accuracy was just a touch off his good coverage by Caesar.
After that 105-yard, 13-play drive, Edmonton is at 4 straight punts. The last couple by Julian have been short. Grant has had to catch the ball at a full sprint. Julian with a high kick. Grant gets under it at his own 21-yard line. We do have a penalty flag on the play. Let's see what the call is here. Well away from the play.
Came out in front of the Edmonton bench as the punt was received.
Killam was hot with the officials after that incomplete pass to Austin Mack on second down. And if you know Mark, he's going to keep going.
Trying to drive home his point. Some frustration, obviously. Just 11 points on the board coming home after the loss on the road against the Montreal Alouettes and at home against Saskatchewan in front of a monster crowd. And are they going to make them kick it again?
Looks like they are.
Illegal interference. Edmonton number 49. This penalty will be applied where the point of last scrimmage. 10 yards. Still third down.
And now that cover team's got to go out there and run another 40.
Yeah, Justin Pace, the Queens grad, in his first year gets flagged, playing that depth linebacker, an important role on special teams. Montreal native had an opportunity to play last week at Percival Molson Stadium, and then again back here at Commonwealth. Good to see him getting on the roster for the Gale, but a tough spot to be in, taking a couple penalties on special teams the last couple of weeks, and enough of a delay maybe between the call of the flag and having to run again. But I mean, anytime you're giving Janarian Grant an extra opportunity, that's a bad idea.
And as you mentioned, Queens, U Sports training camp's opening up this week. I know you're excited.
Always, yeah. I've been running into a couple of guys guys that were recent cuts from CFL teams that were contemplating, do I go back? Do I not? Do I decide to take another shot at the CFL and wait things out for a practice roster spot? But lots of great football being played across the country at the university level coming up soon.
Nice kick by Julian. Grant takes it at his own 21. Gets tripped up early. 17 seconds left for Chad Kelly.
See who got the special teams tackle here is Janarian Grant. So slippery. And was that Tyrell Ford? League leader tied with Ben LeBras, fellow Canadian in interceptions. And on special teams gets just enough of Grant.
I saw that and I thought it can't be 30, can it? He's doing all of that? Kelly looks back and finds DeMonte Coatsy. Puts his head down and picks up 9 yards out to his 40-yard line. 11 seconds to go. Let's see how aggressive Toronto tries to be here.
We saw this against the Calgary Stampeders, that just when you think Chad Kelly's going to look at the clock and admit defeat, usually that's when the big throw comes.
Edmonton brings pressure. Kelly climbs the pocket, has a receiver, and that's broken up. Looking for Jake Herslow.
Looks like Kobe Williams was all over it this time. Kelly, nice movement in the pocket, eyes downfield, and the coverage just too solid from Agent Zero.
Third down coming up. Kelly's probably just going to take a knee here, I would think. Offense is still out there. Maybe a Hail Mary.
Ever aggressive, these Toronto Argonauts. It's in their identity. Used to facing the adversities. It looks like they will settle in.
All right. Toronto takes a knee, trailing by 2 going into halftime. It feels like this game's on the verge of breaking out. We haven't got there yet. There's been some good drives. There's been some big plays by both sides, but ultimately not a lot of touchdowns through 30 minutes of action.
Yeah, the explosive plays missing a little bit as well, right? And I think part of that is Justin Rankin going through kind of the evolution of the CFL season and trying to find his game. Cody Fajardo never afraid to throw the football down the field. Austin Mack obviously being zeroed in on by the Argonauts' defensive game plan. But Chad Kelly, I would expect in the second half, is going to open it up and see where things go.
A tight defensive battle so far. Speaking of defense, here is Tom Guzzola with Nick Anderson.
Nick, how frustrating is it? Because it's a topic that you guys have discussed throughout the year is discipline. You guys think you have a takeaway, and then all of a sudden you got a penalty, and you're going back the other way, back on the field. How tough is that?
Just overall, we got to play clean football. Got to keep the flags out of the field. Got to keep the plays out of ref hand. And then we got to answer. A penalty's going to happen. Mistakes going to happen, but we can't give up an explosion in the next play.
I was going to say, too, I mean, throughout the first half, the defense was looking good. What were you guys doing well that you liked?
We was playing our style of football. We was playing disciplined football. We just got to get back to that.
All right, appreciate it, Nick.
Appreciate you.
All right, Nick Anderson and the Elks leading the Argos 11-9 at the half. Let's set it up to Laura and the panel.
Yeah, this game had all the ingredients to be a high-scoring affair, but it's been all about the defenses so far. A low-scoring game, 11-9 is where we stand at the half, as yes, you're back with Enoch, Milt, and Davis Sanchez. And we asked at the pregame show about this Edmonton defense. You know, it had given up almost 37 points per game over its last 3. It was pretty emphatic to say, no, that wouldn't happen here again. They had Argos contained for most of that first half, but you got to play right until the halftime whistle, right, Milt?
And my original plan was I was going to hype up the Elks defense. They're doing such a great job. You're shutting down Chad Kelly, you know, the #1 passing offense in the CFL. And then that second to last drive, you self-destruct. And they talked about it, being more disciplined. And Taylor Noah right there, that's a play that can be avoided. You know, you keep your hands down. Enoch, maybe you can speak on it more. You're a former linebacker, but you can't let that happen. And then you have right here, Jalen Garnes. Bad angle, then you allow Mitau to go down and take it down to the goal line, and Toronto scores a touchdown. So they got a great defense, but it's just those little things right there that separate you from being a championship-style defense. So they got to get it together. They got to come out in the second half and get that momentum back, because that second-to-last drive allowed Toronto to go in the half with some momentum.
Noah Taylor is listed at 6'4", 240 pounds. When you're going on a text stunt like that for the defensive line, you know your defensive tackle is going upfield. You're wrapping around. You just can't be coming up standing fully up like that, you know the strike zone is tight. You know how the game has been refereed, specifically dealing with quarterbacks in the CFL. So you just got to be low, and you can't have your hand up like that.
Yep.
It's just tough. You got to your point, those little mistakes are the ones that kind of hurt you as a defense.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about this run defense. I think everyone's talking about BC's run defense, well deserved. They're the #1 run defense in the league. But you know who's number 2? These Toronto Argonauts. And I pulled up some numbers here. Over the last 5 weeks, there's not, other than last week with Mills had 5.6. The 5 weeks before that, there's not a rusher that had over 4.4 yards a carry. They're shutting people down. And you know, you look at it tonight. I mean, we know it's always about Justin Rankin. That's what it kind of starts with for this team. Cody's 14 for 17. He's dicing. Every time they drop back and play zone, Cody seems to find exactly what he wants. But he's doing that without a run game. Toronto is shutting them down. If Toronto can get Edmonton get the run game going, then imagine what Cody can do on second down. So it's key right now. I think, give credit to these guys. This Toronto run defense is not getting a lot of credit. They've been excellent. You got to find ways, you said, to get Justin Rankin the ball. So if he's averaging 1 yard a carry, split them out wide. Find ways to get your playmakers the ball.
Jesse, if you're in a defensive meeting room about to play the Edmonton Elks, who do you think you're focusing on?
Justin Rankin. Absolutely.
So they must have spent a lot of time preparing for this. And one of the things that I noticed, especially in that first half, the Elks have been doing a great job of trying to utilize different formations to try and find different ways to dice up the defense. Mark Corte, 65, the extra O-lineman, and then Skylar Griffith has been utilized quite a bit. And then Cody Fajardo has the ability to do just this, right? So they utilize the run game. Although they have been stopped, Toronto has done a great job of stopping the defense. Cody Fajardo has done just a tremendous job of fighting his receivers. And again, he started the game with 11-11. Only has missed 3 throws this first half right now, and he's at 157. He's doing a great job right now in this run right here. 44 yards and 4 shy away from his best run in his career. I mean, he's playing some great football right now. And although there's no run game right now, he's utilizing their abilities and what they can potentially do to his advantage, and he's taking advantage of that.
No run game, but Javon, Leakwalizer, he's had a little success. He's 4 carries for 24 yards, where Rankin 5 carries for -1. So maybe a different style of running back may do something different, because right now Rankin, 4 or 5 games now where he's had no success. You got to change something up.
And also to your point, get them running east and west with that run game. Maybe it's some toss or some reverses, just reverse sweeps, just things like that to get that defense moving side to side. Because if you watch the highlights of Rankin's rushes, Toronto's playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage every time. Every time he gets the ball. Walter Payton wasn't going to get through that, or Barry Sanders. I mean, this is a run defense that's playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
And the last thing, too, Jordan McSimic did a great job. Put Rankin at wide receiver almost.
Yeah, he can catch.
And he did a great job. Just a natural catch. Amazing. So
we'll see what adjustments are going to be made in the half for both of these teams. All right, when halftime continues, we'll start to look ahead to game number 2 of the doubleheader. It's the Riders, it's the Ticats in Hamilton. The Flag Football World Championships are taking place in Dusseldorf, Germany, and some good news for the Canadian women's team, who won its semifinal earlier today, and that means they booked a spot in the 2028 Olympics. The sport will be making its debut then in LA. While the dream isn't over for the men just yet, yes, they lost to Italy in that semifinal, but they can join the women in Los Angeles if they beat Mexico in the bronze game tomorrow. So lots of luck going out to the men. Congratulations going out to the women. As we shift our focus now to Hamilton. And those Ticats hung around on the road in the first CFL start for Harrison Frost last week, going up now against this Riders team who missed 5 starters in their big win over Ottawa. So can Frost and Hamilton take advantage of this injury-depleted Saskatchewan team? Davis.
Yeah, I think they can. And, Scott Milanovich, he praised his quarterback, Harrison Frost. He talked about, Scott liked his pocket presence. He liked Harrison Frost's ability to snap through his progressions. and he liked his ball placement. And if you look at those three things that Scott talked about, it reminds you of all the quarterbacks that Scott has had. This is why they shifted to Harrison Frost. They believe that he's similar to the quarterbacks that Scott's had in his systems and thinks he'd have success with them.
And it has nothing to do with, not necessarily winning last week, but I think they feel good about Harrison Frost starting again for them this week. And for me, it's defensively speaking. They are going to be motivated to try to make some plays. They know how that offense is decimated. A.J. Ouellette is down. Conley is down. Starkorius Thomas stepping in at running back. Let's see what he's got going on. Yes.
It's going to be a difficult task. You got to commend Jeremy O'Day and his staff for finding players who can step in. Wow, they cut me off already.
No, keep going, keep going. People can read. Keep going.
You got to also commend Corey Mason and his staff for getting those players prepared when they need to step in. So it's going to be a tough task, but I think they can get it done. You never know.
TSN 1, TSN 4, we've got that game for you coming up here on our doubleheader Saturday. Meanwhile, back in Edmonton,
This is what I'm going to do to you, David.
That's what I'm going to do to you.
The home team has won the last 4 head-to-head meetings.
Cut me off again. I can't stand it. HR.
With the way both offenses have been playing coming into this one, we expected more yards, certainly not much in the way of rushing yards. What stands out, Marsh?
That 4 rushing yards for the Toronto Argonauts, 9 points on the board. They got to find some sort of balance.
Even with Edmonton, the big rush by Cody Fajardo, the scramble. Justin Rankin, 6 carries for 1 yard. With more on the defensive struggle, here's Tom Gazzola with Argos head coach Mike Miller.
Coach, the momentum swing you guys get at the end of the half, how big is that for you, the way you can maintain the ball and you go down and get that touchdown?
Yeah, it's good. Gave us some emotional boost. We just got to come out here in the second half, continue to execute. I'm pleased with our physicality. We're always talking about we got to raise that another second half level.
You guys have been resilient all year. Is this kind of another one of those Argonauts 2026 type of games in your mind?
Well, I mean, this is a good football team. A lot of respect for Mark Killam and the job they do, but we're excited for this challenge. We knew this was going to be a battle, and we just got to keep pushing in the second half.
Appreciate the time, Coach.
Thanks a lot. Yep.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Coach. Chad Kelly still looking for kind of his breakout moment in this game. He's a guy that we know loves to push the ball down the field. Hasn't really done it yet.
And smashing the smelling salts. Did I see Osh chewing on smelling salts?
No.
In the game last night? I'm not sure I didn't.
Janarian Grant out across the 35. Ball is loose. Let's see who picks it up. Edmonton is signaling it's theirs. But what a turn of events that would be. The referee signal, it is Edmonton ball at the 34-yard line as Janarian Grant lets it fall.
Huge moment here early on. Brock Mogensen fighting back in. Was that Jibinor? Global and Nigeria battling back into the middle of the special teams play. I saw him fired down the field earlier on. Didn't make contact with anyone, but reason to celebrate on this one. Short field and a stolen possession. Escatelier lives it.
He talked about momentum going into halftime. Tom did when he spoke to Coach Miller. This takes it away right here. Mogensen with the recovery. Quick pitch left side to Rankin. Trying to turn the corner, not much there. Fights forward for maybe 3 yards, which again would be his longest rush of the game.
I was going to say almost close to what he's had the entire first half, which is crazy to say for someone who seemed like he could not be stopped under any circumstances early on in the season.
Mark Killam did talk about the fact that he's been dealing with something nagging earlier in the week, but he felt he was fully ready to go and have more juice, as Killam liked to say, coming into this week.
Yeah, and I think the reality is if you're playing running back in the CFL and you've started every game for your team, everyone's dealing with something.
This time the check down and the big tackle right there. Darius Pickett denies Rankin any additional yardage, and that's going to create a field goal situation for Edmonton.
Get a good look at it here at Darius Pickett. Staring downhill as he sees Rankin start to release, and they obviously have a high threat level anytime that number 5 gets out of the backfield. So if he catches it free and he starts to get some steam going, despite the rushing yardage, they know he can break a big one.
Vincent Blanchard on to attempt the 37-yard field goal. Kick is up, and it is good. Edmonton adds to its lead.
Steele, a quick three. Get an opportunity here for Edmonton to take the opening possession of the football game and then essentially take the first of the second half as well after this fumble. Punched out. Mogensen on top of it. Edmonton would have loved to turn that into 6, but in a game like this, every moment, every point is going to matter. Now Janarian Grant re-enters the field.
Chad Kelly from his own 40-yard line looks right to Herslow, who manages to hang on. Nice catch by touchdown Jake.
Down the seam. Looks like the Edmonton defender, after a 25-yard gain, in a little bit of pain. We're going to see Herslow kind of weave his way through the coverage here as he goes outside, actually inside the halfback, and settles down in front of the free safety. That's Chalon Garnes coming over to make the hit, who is still down on the turf currently. But Herslow, not the biggest of bodies, but we saw so much of that in 2025. Being able to run down the seam, control possession at just 6 foot 185.
59 receptions that season on 79 targets. You just kind of feel that if he can get into the lineup and gain some traction, he's not coming out because he can do so many things.
I mean, it's no hurdle, but it'll do. Maybe he'll get up to speed for the hurdle at some point, but good to see Chalon Garnes onto his feet. We'll see they shuffle the back end here. It looks like Cordell Jackson might actually be going back to free safety.
25-yard gain on that last play. Brock Mogensen into the game. Looks like he's playing the nickel spot. This time the quick pitch left side. Sam Hicks manages to turn the corner. Picks up close to 5.
How about the job defensively here? Perez Reed, they've talked about him throughout camp in the early season. Being able to get himself free off of blockers, understand the flow of running schemes in the CFL. The early days, that's one of the hardest things to understand. He went through a variety of different college programs, Grand Valley State, Florida Atlantic, just 5'10", 187, but flies in with much more force.
Kelly on 2nd and 6 has the completion of David Ungerer. Mogensen is able to force him out of bounds, but not until he crosses the 30 with the first down.
And Mogensen's a really good player, but they're absolutely trying to isolate him here as he's fresh into the game, playing at that nickel spot because they roll Cordell Jackson back to cover for Chalon Garnes, who's out with the injury. Just dial up a scheme that can find 43 by himself.
Mogensen normally an inside linebacker. This time a sack on the play. Chad Kelly goes down, they fumble, but Edmonton or Toronto does recover. Penalty flag on the play. Let's see what they call here.
And was it the extra blow that Kelly took, or was it the original low hit? A couple of different options here as Kelly was getting beaten, battered.
Discipline affecting both of these teams in this game.
You see Malik Carney flying off the edge, working one-on-one against Brandon Kemp as he bends the corner and makes the contact down low, and then the Argonauts get back onto the football, and as Kelly tried to stand up, just kind of getting run into. I don't think it was intentional by Gavin Meyer. It was just kind of the way it was forcing him.
The quarterback was down by contact, and there's no flag on the play. The Edmonton player was pushed into the quarterback. It's 2nd down.
Let's take another look.
We see Gavin Meyer here, as you'll see Noah Taylor and Malik Carney converging at the point of attack, and then Gavin Meyer just kind of wandering over, and Castro is a nice little shove, and Mike Miller will pop under the collar here to get things going in the second half, rightfully so. And now Taylor jumps offside, and Ryan Hunter looks like he drew the penalty.
Yeah, as far as the last one, I'm not sure if Eye in the Sky got involved in making sure that the referees knew that he was pushed in, but they certainly got that call right, despite Mike Miller's objections. This one probably a little simpler with an offside.
And Taylor getting the push-ups in.
Offside.
Come on, you got to extend.
To number 42, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Taylor's got to extend on those push-ups.
I think I've seen Tyrell Ford do that before as well, the Edmonton defensive culture.
Chad Kelly navigates the pocket, then scrambles and takes off before sliding inside the 25. Gets a good chunk of that yardage back. Not going to be enough for a first down, and that'll bring up third and a kicking situation for the Argos.
We don't talk about Chad Kelly's legs a lot because it's all about the arm and the yardage and the projections on the touchdowns and the interceptions this year, but when he needs to, it can be a bit of a chaotic experience, but knows when and where to take off. Even after getting that hit down low earlier, obviously with the injury from the East Final a couple years ago, not in his mind, not afraid to take off.
Brady Lidster 1 for 3 on the afternoon. This kick is up, and it is good. The Argos cut the lead back to 2. Mike Miller, probably not thrilled. He's having to settle for 3. Cody Fajardo, when we come back, looks to add to Edmonton's lead. Cody Fajardo started this game with 11 straight completions before our statistician Dave Moyer jinxed him, and then 4 straight punts by Edmonton offensively.
Cody bringing his A game here today, getting into his rhythm, finding his spots. Accuracy has been good for the most part. At times the Edmonton offense has slowed down. It seems like they got to find a little bit more balance, also trying to adjust to some of the coverage challenges being presented by Greg Quick in the Argonauts defense.
That 44-yard run, Fajardo's biggest play of the first half. This time, Fajardo looks quick to the left side, has a completion to Josh Cephas. Pick up a 5 on the play.
You see the motion coming from Cephas here. They're moving him all over the spot. There he is, right in front of you. He's going to lean his way to the outside, working with Austin Mack. They switch responsibilities. A couple of quick out routes. His 4th catch of the ball game. Benji Franklin right there, trying to help Toronto get their 3rd straight win, which would be a season-high streak.
Cephas, a completion machine, or a receptions machine when he was at San Antonio. 248 receptions in 3 years. This time the check down to Leak, who just drops it.
Yeah, frustration from Cody, obviously, on the drop, but also maybe regretting just ripping it onto his running back in short order as they were sitting at 2nd and 5, working his way through the progression. And Cody, whenever he hits that back foot, for me, Fajardo, alongside maybe Trevor Harris and a couple of other guys, the most reliable in the league, that the internal clock goes off and he knows football's got to come out. Doesn't matter where it goes, it has to come out of my hands. Sometimes it's short of the sticks like that, it leads to a punt.
The 4th 2 and out for Edmonton. Julian on to attempt another punt here. Grant has to back up this time, takes it inside his own 5-yard line. Has a little bit of room, trying to go left before being eventually tackled down. Good fight on the play by Grant before being brought down at the 22-yard line. Another wonderful afternoon in Edmonton in August. The Elks up by 2. The West standings just got a little more interesting with BC's victory over Calgary earlier this week. Mark Killam not interested in the fact his team is 6-3. He's more concerned about the last 2 losses and wants to continue to keep pace with Saskatchewan. And you know who else is happy about the Elks' record this year?
Who's that?
This guy.
What's he doing?
Shouldn't he be up here?
That's, by the way, that's the most important marshal that's in the building here today. Dustin Nielsen and his son hanging out and enjoy. I was going to go to the tailgate. Lieutenant Eric invited me. I was too nervous. I got to work. Can't go to the Edmonton tailgate.
I went to the tailgate. Dusty wasn't there. Malik Carney with his 2nd sack of the game gets things started for Edmonton defensively on this possession.
Carney with the career high 8 sacks coming off the edge. Last season in the big signing, jumping over, and I love the way that he's 30 years old. They get him at prime value. He's got plenty left in the tank. 39 tackles as well last year, and he has fitted seamlessly to this Edmonton football culture.
Only 2 sacks so far this season. He's doubled that total today. Carmine Bastone also there. Carney again. The ball comes out. Picked up by Kevin Mattal. He's able to get some of the yardage back, but not enough. Toronto's going to have to punt. Almost another sack there for Carney.
Yeah, it feels like Fajardo at this point is going anything to not let Carney get another on me, right? You see him working off on this side as he's going to go one-on-one once again with Kemp. He's got the book on, hits him with the spin move this time, like he wasn't even there. The special pass rushers are the ones that can spin and get skinny at the same time, right?
Argo's third 2-0. Burnham shanks that kick. That one goes out of bounds before midfield, and a penalty flag comes out right here for that illegal kick out of bounds.
Yeah, bad one that time for Burnham. Acquired via trade from the Ottawa Red Blacks after they decided to settle in with Noah Getman. As you can see, it just slide off the side of his foot.
Legal punt out of bounds. Toronto number 14. 10-yard penalty. First down, Edmonton.
Not going to be much net yardage gained after that punt.
Yeah, the Aussie out of Bama wanting it back. He heads to the sideline, a solid shake of the head. Argonaut special teams unit has been so good at various points this year, but the kicking game just so inconsistent.
Burnham actually would be leading the league right now in terms of net average if he had qualified. He didn't have enough kicks coming into this game. Not going to like that last one, 19 yards of net. This time pressure coming. Sean Lemon gets home on Cody Fajardo. Lemon with his 4th sack in 3 games in double blue.
Yeah, and you're going to see Sean Lemon doing what Sean Lemon does right here, flying off the edge. They got something dialed up with Skylar Griffith coming across at pass protection. And any time you go 6 offensive linemen plus a fullback, and you go with a heavy play action, you know Fajardo was ready to throw one way down the field. I think Josh Cephas was running a little double move, but not enough time when Sean Lemon can beat the single coverage here from the left tackle around the corner. 107th career sack.
Lemon saw Malik Carney on that last play, said, hold my beer. This time the quick completion of Brandon O'Leary Orange gets half the yardage back, but that's not going to be enough for a first down, and that'll bring on the field goal unit for Edmonton.
It sets up Blanchard with something a little bit more manageable at this point, but again, missed opportunities here. It feels like Edmonton in real control of the football game at the start of the third quarter, but having to settle, even with these short fields, for the triples instead of majors could come back to bite them at the end, especially when we know that this Argonauts offense is never going to be out of a football game.
Vincent Blanchard with the 46-yard attempt. Kick is up, and it is good. Edmonton restores their 5-point lead. The defensive struggle continues between these two teams, but we've still got a 1-score game. Chad Kelly takes the field when we come back.
The stars of IndyCar take to the streets of Markham for the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy. Catch all the action tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific on TSN, CTV, and Crave. Tune in to find out whether or not they'll have the barriers and the fencing up in time at the hairpin to make it reasonable. They lost all of Friday. I have no idea how those drivers are going to learn the track in just today and then race tomorrow. Wild.
I'm impressed that you watch more than just F1.
Watch it all.
Chad Kelly drops back to pass. It looks left to Copsey, who's got the reception before being brought down. That ball looks like it's out again. And they're ruling it a fumble so far. Let's see what the officials come up with. Edmonton has the ball, and they're ruling it Elks ball. Another turnover by the Argos in this half, and Edmonton has it in Toronto territory.
And a little inside-out bang right there as the ball clearly comes out early on. 3 Elks all over it. Nick Anderson digging in the bottom of the pile. And not enough Argos there to the party in time, as it looks like J.J. Ross might have been the one who actually got the punch that knocked it loose.
Joel DeBlanco was also there, winds up with the recovery, and Cody Fajardo in the Elks offense is in business at the 47-yard line.
And speaking of watching anything and everything, I asked DeBlanco about this earlier this year. He said, I don't watch anything. I don't watch TV. I don't watch reality. He said, all I do is watch football. I watch film. That is it. And you can tell, pure football guy.
He's that guy. Fajardo pulls it. He's looking for Austin Mack, who makes a one-handed catch but the Argos are right there. Darius Pickett with the tackle. Actually, that's Cam Judge with the tackle. Just the second catch of the afternoon for Austin Mack. Look for that to change before this game's over.
Yeah, been a slow start to this football game here as we sit in the third quarter. He had 9 catches on 13 targets for 100-plus yards and a touchdown against Montreal, his old team last week. Third game of 100-plus this season, but as we say, good slow grind in this one. Defensive battle. Right quick, scheming things up, trying to take away. Number 3 knows how dangerous he is, especially vertically. We found that out against the Riders.
2nd and 8 from the 45. Fajardo looks deep down the middle of the field. He's got Justin Rankin, who's got it inside the 10-yard line. Rankin, for the second time in this game, makes an impact as a receiver.
Yeah, you're going to see Rankin do what Rankin does best when they empty it out. He's going to go right here and wander up the seam and then just split the coverage right in between the hashes. It doesn't matter how much you squeeze these hashes. He's going to find a way to get a gain of 38 like this. Vertical on the backside holds the defender that was coming across at the end of the play. There was that Arcangelo, Bubba Bolden actually that came over and laid the hit and was feeling it a little bit. But Rankin out of the backfield, the true kind of X factor for this Edmonton offense.
Second time in the red zone for the Elks. This time the give to Rankin, finds a crease, cuts back into the end zone. Touchdown, Edmonton. Justin Rankin finally breaks free.
Well, if they give you the off-tempo pitch, this is the fastball right down the pipe. As you're going to see him take it, wheel it back, and then just cut. And 1 foot in the ground. When that right foot from Justin Rankin hits the ground right there, it's over.
His longest gain of the night. That's the Justin Rankin we're used to seeing. Points off turnovers. Argos are going to regret that one.
This feels like the Edmonton football team that we saw win 6 of their first 7 to start the season. The team that's brought so many fans back to the stands here at Commonwealth.
Edmonton came into this game plus 10 in turnovers. Justin Rankin finally getting untracked on this drive. Lots of ways for Justin Rankin to impact a football game. If he doesn't have it going running the football, he can do it through the air. 4 catches for 61 yards before finishing with his legs.
And the hands are so smooth and natural. I mean, even absorbing contact and fighting through a big blow like that, but then it just becomes a matter of his comfort level on the ground, following his blocks. The offensive line loves getting out in front of this man because he makes them look so much better by just being able to read their body language, and they feed off the energy he gives this offense.
Edmonton with an 11-point lead. They've scored 10 points off Toronto turnovers. Argos were working on ball security earlier in warm-up. But especially in this second half, Edmonton has been aggressive on the ball defensively and on special teams, and they've been able to set their offense up in great position. Blanchard with the kick. Janarian Grant deep to receive. We mentioned he fumbled earlier. A short, high kick, which Grant fields just outside his 20. Gets across the 40.
Solid return from Janarian Grant, but pregame, the Toronto Argonauts and their receiving group working on ball security here. As you see Jake Herslow return to the lineup, there's a difference between catching the football, warming up, no shoulder pads on, and having angry defenders, which this Edmonton Elks team has, trying to punch at the football, wandering around, rip, punch, and attacking the ball, because in live reps, Edmonton's coming after it, time after time after time. And the defense continues to create headaches. Toronto just feels like they're getting into a little bit of a flow. They're completing some passes. They're getting the ground game going a little bit with Hicks. And all of a sudden, Edmonton goes ripping and punching at the football.
Argos penalty takes the ball back to the 30-yard line. Quick throw by Chad Kelly into the slot. Kevin Mittal with the reception picks up 7 yards on first down.
There's nothing like simulating the ball actually getting punched at, right? Like ripped at, the intensity of a game. You cannot simulate that. It doesn't matter if it's practice, if it's pads on, if it's the third practice of the week, the first of the week. But when you're in the moment, I got a feeling there's probably been a conversation on the sideline with the Argonauts going, guys, they're angry and they're coming for it. We got to make sure we wrap up. You got to be hypersensitive to it at this point.
Note to the panel: Enoch pass to the left side. That one is broken up. Common can't make the reception.
Perez Reed all over it. It's Tyler Common trying to make the quick little outbreaking route here. Simple coverage, simple play on the football. It's the stuff that you run back in the OTAs, the March workouts that you have, thrown around with guys back home, wherever it might be, north or south of the border. It just comes down to simple execution.
Reed has certainly been noticeable in this game.
And they loved him coming in, right? Killam told us that Cordell Jackson was kind of that guy going into last season, that they noticed him over and over again in training camp, and it's been the same way this year with Reed.
James Burnip with a beautiful punt that time, spiral for 61 yards, pushes Edmonton back to their own 12-yard line.
And obviously, for too, like, we hate seeing injuries, but you love when guys come into the lineup, get their opportunity, because you never know who's going to be the next one that's going to be special. Like guys like even Bubba Bolden here, free safety from Toronto Argonauts, he's like let go by the Montreal Alouettes, right? Oh, we don't really need him. We got enough players in this position. Perez Reed is just another guy from another, American university that comes in and he's trying to fill a role and play on special teams. Then all of a sudden you give him a chance on defense. You go, whoa.
Fajardo pulls the ball out, finds Skylar Griffiths in the flats. The fullback with a solid gain on first down gets across the 30-yard line.
Lined up as the tight end here, Skylar Griffiths. You see him right there, just going to slide his way out into the flats. You see Darius Pickett biting all over the ball fake inside. Had it well defended, and Skylar Griffiths just kind of settled down and able to find that soft spot. Not quite fast enough to get all the way to the corner, so Tavares McFadden maybe a little wider than he could have been to shut it down. But Deshaun Amos, also good to see him back on the field in this game as he was banged up in the first half.
Griffith, a third-round pick in 2025 out of UBC. This time it's Cephas with the reception. D'Arcangelo right there for the tackle. I mentioned Griffiths. He actually missed all of last season with an injury. So his first opportunity this year, and he's been able to make an impact on special teams and certainly on that reception there.
And Jacob Lamonde as well from Red Deer and the Calgary Dinos was the fullback at the start of the season, got banged up, and so Griffiths has kind of run with that role, taking advantage of it. It's fitting, though, that Griffiths makes that grab against the Toronto Argonauts, because does he ever remind me of Declan Cross?
Yeah.
Right? Like, whether it's the hair, the playing style, the physicality, Griffiths has got all that going on the same way Cross did for the double blue for so long.
Second and long for Fajardo. Looks over the middle, finds Brendan O'Leary Orange, who hangs on. The diving catch across the 50 and a first down for Edmonton.
And it looks low, but it's totally intentional from Cody Fajardo. This is why receivers love playing with him, is if you throw this one into the middle of the body, it's a big hit coming downhill from Bubba Bolden. If you throw it low enough to the ground that only O'Leary Orange can be the one that goes down and gets it, they're still going to get hit. You're still going to get the contact from Bolden. It's just not going to blow you up, and it's certainly not going to hurt the body as bad or knock the football loose. It's tremendous accuracy from Fajardo that goes under the radar.
This time it's Rankin, who again finds a bit of room, fights forward for a few extra. Pickup of 7 on his first carry after that last touchdown run.
Mark Cordy in there, you see crawling his way back up onto his feet. In the 6th offensive lineman is David Beard, taking over the starting center job, but former fourth overall pick of the Ottawa Redblacks. And Cordy played multiple years without missing a snap here for the Edmonton Elks, but because they've got so many talented bodies up front with Carter O'Donnell, Brett Boyko at right guard at this point, Jordan Murray coming over in free agency from Hamilton. You see Cordy playing kind of an H-back fullback spot in this lineup.
This time Rankin bounces off first contact, tries to get to the left and find more. Not much there, no gain on 2nd and 3 as we wrap up the third quarter. Edmonton will have third down and a decision to make when we come back. Edmonton 24, Toronto 12. 15 minutes remaining here in Edmonton when we come back. Let's take a look at the stats through 3 quarters. Edmonton starting to get a little bit of traction offensively, and Justin Rankin also getting into this game now.
Yeah, Rankin is starting to feel himself a little bit. He's getting used out of the backfield, which I think we anticipated coming out a little bit in this game. But in the second half, for me, the biggest thing is back in week number 1, the Edmonton Elks were really frustrated because they kind of backed their way into a victory against the Ottawa Redblacks. They didn't really close out the game they wanted. If I'm the Edmonton Elks at this point, you cannot do what you did on the final play of the third quarter, which is basically just create a pile with 8-9 bodies at the line of scrimmage. The Argonauts are so sound in the run game at being able to lock things down, maintain, contain, flow with their defensive backs. The D-line does a great job of holding up blockers. Chad Kelly will throw his way back into this game if Edmonton tries to sit on the football here throughout the entire fourth. So I think Edmonton has got to be more aggressive than they might be comfortable with, considering who they're playing against.
Yeah, one thing is clear, and we talked about this with the interceptions earlier, nothing's going to convince Chad Kelly that he's not really good at football. And he'll just keep throwing.
He will take those vertical shots no matter what. Jordan McSimic understands that as well. Savvy on both sides of the ball and understanding the game plan for Mark Killenstein.
High end over end kick that Grant fields at his own 9. Looks for some room on the left side. Runs out of bounds at around the 13. Sorry, make that the 17. Let's take a look at Chad Kelly so far tonight.
On pace to be the first Argo with 6,000 passing yards in a season. That pace slowed a little bit today from his 334 yards per game on an 18-game pace, but it's the interceptions that have not shown up today, despite Tyrell Ford, who's tied for the league lead in picks, coming on the other side. He had the 4 interceptions to Kelly last week against Calgary, but today much more low-key, but just 12 points on the board. I think he's going to open it up here.
This time the handoff to Hicks. Not much room there. Hicks brought down after a gain of 1, maybe less.
You know this too, Varn, when you start playing kind of the time and the score and the analytics on this, at some point you might want to get the running game going. You might want to keep people honest. It's not going to do much for you as they're sitting on things, knowing that you want to be able to mix and match. And it's the interesting chess game for me right now is J.C. Sherrod trying to understand exactly how to shut down Chad Kelly playing this freewheeling style.
Kelly drops back on 2nd and 9, looks left, has a receiver. It's Coxie near the first down marker. Let's see where they spot it. Coxie hasn't been the deep threat today. It's been a lot of underneath stuff. He certainly had his moments.
Yeah, lost his footing a little bit like he did in the first half on that comeback route, but same thing, just get into the cushion of the defensive back, J.J. Ross. Didn't even really have to close it up on him. Basically ran to the sticks, and you can see how threatening Coxie is, getting Ross into his back pedal already. Probably could have pushed that route a little bit deeper to avoid having to get the sticks out for the measurement here.
Yeah, let's see where it lies. Looks like you're just short. Now, certainly they're well inside their own end, but close enough where you've got to go for it here.
It's one of those where in film tomorrow, they're probably going, hey, DeMonte, he goes, yeah, I know. push my route depth, right? Simple fix to an uncomplicated problem.
The big team comes into the game. Looks like Toronto will go for it here. Edmonton responds with their changes.
Coxie with just 5 catches, 37 yards in this one. Kevin Mittal, the leading receiver for the Argonauts, 89 yards. But this Argos group on pace for something with their receiving group that hasn't been done since 2016, potentially. But Chad Kelly keeps throwing it up and down the field, but Arbuckle in here in short yardage.
Arbuckle with the give to Hicks and the jet sweep. They're not going to get it. Toronto tried to be cute, and they have been held short.
Great awareness from Edmonton, not being lazy, not playing off the short yardage cues, falling asleep. Arbuckle already went off tackle early on in this one. Herslow shaking the head as they tried to go with the end around, going nowhere. Defense flows right to it as the rookie, Daryl Javomi, makes the play alongside Noah Taylor. Well, they try to get it to Isaiah Smith, the rookie coming out of Guelph here, but they don't get the block on the edge. Jack Cassar trying to block Noah Taylor off the outside. Can't reach him enough, and Taylor's going to turn it all the way back inside with a little bit of help from his friends, Daryl Jabomi as well right there. But a great kick out by Sebastian Parcelidis off the edge here. You see 41, but they just can't seal. And the Argonauts decide to go horizontal instead of north-south. Chad Kelly, the frustration wears on in a long day here in Edmonton.
That was literally 2 inches. I'm not sure why they felt the need to take the edge, but Cody Fajardo, meanwhile, rolls right, cannot connect with Keon Julian Grant.
And after Mark Killam had to answer some questions about the decision this week about short yardage in the game in Montreal, going for it from deep in Montreal territory. Now Mike Miller, I'm sure, second-guessing that one as he stands with 12 minutes remaining.
The Elks 8 for 19 on second down. This is Toronto's 3rd turnover of this half. Edmonton with 10 points off the first 2 turnovers. Let's see what they can come up with here. Fajardo drops back, looks left, has a receiver. It's Austin Mack. Cuts back inside, gets to the 10-yard line with a first down, Edmonton.
A little dose of your own DeMonte Coxie medicine right here with the comeback, isolating Austin Mack. And into the boundary on rhythm and timing. You see Fajardo hit that back step and fires it into Austin Mack. The chemistry those two guys have, that's about as simple as it gets. Benji Franklin asking for a push-off, but can't get any help on that one, even with Derek Sluka flying out to try and help.
First and goal for Edmonton from the 10. Fajardo looking to throw left to Cephas. Cannot connect. Wouldn't have had the touchdown there, but certainly would have been a big chunk of it.
One of those classic score zone plays where you're trying to use motion pre-snap to kind of influence the defense, make them roll away and get you a matchup that you like. A little bit of pressure on in and around the feet of Cody Fajardo, I think, led to the inaccuracy, but still some frustration knowing that he had an open receiver to, at the very least, get them about half the distance to the goal.
Second and 10, second and goal. Fajardo drops back, looking into the end zone, has a receiver. Touchdown, Josh Cephas. Edmonton strikes again.
Great answer from the Edmonton Elks here in the passing attack. I said they couldn't sit on the football. They know who they're playing against. And you'll see Cephas just taking a little bit of a run down the inside. They're going to occupy the interior with Brendan O'Leary orange, and as soon as Bubba Bolden gets shallow, Tavares McFadden not able to get over the top in time to take away Cephas. They're playing that little two-man game. And maybe mix the uprights in for a little bit of fun, just like we saw last night with Ottawa and Winnipeg.
17 points off turnovers for Edmonton in this half. Blanchard on to attempt the PAT. The kick is up and good, and the lead expands to 19 points for the Elks at home. Josh Cephas, 49 collegiate touchdowns, adding to that total north of the border. Marsh, the big question of the week was, where's Lapo? Well, he's in Dusseldorf, Germany at the World Championships, where Canada was looking to qualify for the Olympics. Michael O'Connor throws a pick six here, proved to be the difference in this game. Canada falls short against Italy, who claims an Olympic berth. Canada still has a chance in the bronze medal game tomorrow against Mexico. If they win, they qualify. The ladies, meanwhile, did qualify. They knock off Mexico in this game. They advance to tomorrow's final, and the scene after the game when they had learned they had qualified, just unbelievable. So good on them. They're the first to punch their ticket to Los Angeles. Again, the men have an opportunity tomorrow. If they're not successful, they've still got an opportunity next year. Lapo wants to get it done, and we will be relentless. We will be all over Lapo if he doesn't get it done. I never thought
he will get it done.
I've never thought that I would be standing huddled with other people around a monitor watching a flag football game before this one started.
It was so much fun today. The Argos returned this one, but I was up at 4 a.m. Mountain Time today to watch American Samoa take on Canada in flag. I never thought I would say that before either. But yeah, Canada's Catherine Gaumont had a pair of interceptions against Mexico as well for the women's side, and love watching Michael O'Connor rip it around the field. The men's team has so much potential in front of them. Lapo's having a ton of fun with them. Just an amazing experience and giving you something to cheer for, and such a fun game as well, just to watch our guys run around. And so many that we know, whether it's from CFL draft picks to U Sports football players. There's a lot of reason to get excited about that. Congratulations to the women off to LA.
Marc-Antoine Dubois is a pass rusher for the Canadian flag football team.
Every time I was watching a snap this morning against American Samoa and then against Italy, I'm going, is he really not in the CFL? Like, I was catching it going, that's a CFL all-star chasing down on pass rush and flag. It's amazing.
Tyler Common with the reception there for Toronto as they pick up 8 yards on first down. Now the quick look inside again to Common. Makes one-man mix, crosses the 45, down to the 40 before being brought down by Reed.
Well, down by 19 points. And here come the laser beams from Chad Kelly. Stare down the linebacker, rip it right off his ear with Tyler Common in the perfect spot at the perfect time.
This time the handoff goes to Smith. He picks up 8 yards in the play.
Yeah, solid game, and then playbook wide open here as well on second and a couple of yards deep in Edmonton territory as they'll continue to go quick. And this is the tempo that I think from Ryan Dinwiddie's era with the Argonauts and his time with Chad Kelly, this is where Chad feels most comfortable. You kind of turn your brain off, you go quick, you run simple plays, and you execute at a high level.
They need 3 scores here. This time the play fake looks inside. It's intercepted. J.J. Ross goes back the other way. Only Chad Kelly can prevent him from scoring. Ross has it, and he is going to score. Edmonton running away with this one.
Oh, you want to bring him back to Commonwealth? That's one way. No fault of Kelly here. Playing the simple stuff, playing with speed. Bounces directly off the receiver's hands. And J.J. Ross, the beneficiary, as they max protect it. Kelly played the isolated route, and Coxie's been so good all day long. But that one will get chalked up to a pick 6 on Chad Kelly.
Coxie did fumble earlier as well, which led to points for the Elks, and now that one leads to an 81-yard touchdown by J.J. Ross. Ross with his second interception of the season. Blanchard with the kick, and this one is wide. We do have penalty flags on the play. Let's see what the call is. But the Elks now up 25 points in this game.
This feels a heck of a lot like what we saw in the Montreal-Edmonton game last week, where Edmonton's right in it. Close game, single-score game, and you blink, and all of a sudden you go, how is that a 20-point game?
Number 99, 10-yard penalty, retry the convert.
So Blanchard was wide. He'll have an opportunity again thanks to that illegal hands to the face call.
Ralph Hawley getting flagged for that one as DeMonte Coxie. His head hangs. Frustrating day. J.J. Ross all smiles.
Well, consider that Edmonton came into this game plus 10, leading the league in turnover margin. They've got a 4-1 edge now. Those 4 turnovers have led to 24 Edmonton points. So they're not just feasting on them, they're turning them into points. And that's been the difference here tonight.
The wild part for me as well is that Edmonton didn't have a defense, or didn't have an interception, I should say, about the first 5 games of the year. And then all of a sudden they've taken off and picking things off left, right, and center as Nick Arbuckle and Tucker Horn get loose on the Toronto sideline.
This time the kick is good, and you made the point. You can't blame Chad Kelly for that turnover. But you're now at a point in the game, down 26 points, where you might be better served trying to protect Chad Kelly, and we'll likely see Nick Arbuckle when they come back.
And DeMonte Coxie just trying to run that simple little slant route. They got the numbers, they got the look they wanted, looking for a simple completion. And when it goes through your hands as a quarterback, you just start running to the pylon and hoping. But when there's a cavalcade out in front wearing the other team's colors, there's just not much you can do.
You know, when you look at this secondary of Edmonton, as I go through my depth chart coming in, so many guys in their second and third seasons, including J.J. Ross in his second season, and the Elks had to deal with a lot of growing pains a year ago. The secondary was a big part of their defensive issues, especially early in the season. When we talked to Mark Killam about this, that pain that they dealt with in 2025 has allowed for a team that is comfortable, that knows how to communicate. They are all on the same page, and when that happens, you can be physical, you can rally to the ball, and you can make plays like that.
Yeah, I think the Edmonton defense, specifically the back end, is criminally underrated at this point. The way that they've been able to step up their game in about the last month, 6 weeks or so. They've been massive difference makers, helping field position and Cody Fajardo get short fields and all the rest. But I do love that moment from a Darius Pickett talking things through with DeMonte Coxie.
This time Grant looking for some room on the left side. He crosses the 40-yard line. He was also responsible for one of the turnovers in this half. And 25 straight points, 24 I should say, by the Elks, all off turnovers.
You see the fumble DeMonte Coxie had earlier on, ripped out as the aggressive defense of the Elks got after it. And this one just bounced off the hands. Might have looked up a little bit too early, trying to get away from the interior defender, but frustrating day to get points off turnovers. Such a big difference maker in the CFL, but a leader in a Darius Pickett just trying to get something, anything, looks like, out of DeMonte Coxie to make sure he's okay, reset. And it almost makes you wish that this was a closer game, because the redemption arc on Coxie, we've seen him before, especially with Chad Kelly at quarterback. Just as quickly as he's had those 2 turnovers, he could also have 2 majors to bring them back, but I think it's asking a bit much at this point.
Now, if Toronto puts in Arbuckle at this point in the game, should the Elks take a look at maybe putting in Powell?
I don't see why not. It looks like Carter Kettle, young University of Alberta draft pick, was down on special teams. But yeah, I like the idea of protecting Cody Fajardo, and he certainly has done everything he needs to here today with 38 points on the board. But likely wants to finish on a high note as well, because the Elks, they've been on a gauntlet here playing Saskatchewan on the road against Montreal, coming back home against a dangerous Toronto Argonauts team that they respect. They got 2 home games and then 11 days off. And lingering in the background as well is Labor Day, creeping ever closer as we make our way through the middle of August.
The Elks now with 100 points off turnovers this season and lead the CFL. Kelly staying in the game, finds Ungerer there on the RPO. Another penalty flag on the play. Maybe Kelly said he didn't want to come out.
Well, it certainly feels like Chad didn't want to end his day by trying to chase down a pick 6. Sure, they had the discussion with Mike Miller.
There's no foul for blocking downfield on the play. Result of the play is a first down.
And with Kelly still in the game as well, you know the next one coming up is the tone setter for Labor Day Monday in the Hammer, as Toronto will host the Tiger Cats next Saturday.
Kelly looks to throw quick, pulls it down, dealing with pressure. Noah Taylor comes in and sacks him. All sorts of problems in the second half here for Chad Kelly as he gets brought down again.
Noah Taylor highlighted him at the start of the game. Ever impressive. Brandon Kemp, one-on-one. I think he fell asleep at the wheel thinking that Taylor was going to jump and the clock was going to go off in Kelly's head, but he's trying to extend the play and make anything. But Taylor continues to just have an onslaught. And the defensive coaching staff as well, I want to highlight for the Edmonton Elks. Just so impressive how aggressive they are to the football.
I thought that was setting up to be a turnover. Fortunately, Kelly hung on to it. This time it's Hicks taking the screen pass. Fights his way for maybe 8 yards. Do you go for it here if you're Toronto? You might as well if you still feel you got a shot.
Yeah, it's a great call at the right time, right? I mean, you got Hicks kind of sliding out of the backfield. You get Ryan Hunter in the open field, Peter DeCastro, as well as they double team Joel DeBlanco, knowing he's the most dangerous. Leave a single man with a nice block by DeMonte Coxie on the outside as well. And Hicks, you leave him one, he'll usually make a miss.
Third down. This time the handoff going nowhere. Edmonton is right there. Carmine Stone with the tackle for loss, and the Elks will take over again after another Argos turnover. Whatever Mark Killam told his team this week, they absolutely got the message. The Elks have dominated the second half of this one. Cody Fajardo and the Elks on the way to their 7th win of the season. Tom Gazzola, tell us how little they take winning for granted.
Well, they talk about the thing called the winning process far ahead, and that's something Mark Killam said, that those 2 losses to Montreal and Sask gave him an opportunity to re-emphasize to him the winning process, good vibes, positivity in the locker room, but a sense of urgency. And I asked Cody Fajardo, what does that mean to you, the winning process? He says killer instinct. And after those losses in Saskatchewan and Montreal, he said, I thought the younger guys struggled a little bit trying to overdo it, to make big plays, just get back to the process that got them to 6-1, and guys, it's worked out so far today.
Cody Fajardo told us this week he's really upset that they took down the City of Champions sign.
Yeah, and it made him angry in the offseason.
Yeah, and he wants to wear that. He wants to take it on himself to restore that as far as this franchise is concerned. Fajardo now, the handoff to Rankin, who finds a little bit of room before being tripped up after a gain of 3.
Yeah, the Edmonton Elks, the way that they have carried themselves throughout this season, I think the adversity they faced against Saskatchewan going into those 2 really emotional games, including the one at home here, kind of carved out a bit of an identity in this team, right? They needed some extra time. Mark Killam said last year he didn't even know where his parking spot was when he came in. He was trying to get everybody used to where are we practicing this year before we come into Commonwealth, and it feels like they have settled in. They know who they are. They know what their strengths are. They know when they're playing at their best, what that looks like. And it leads to days like this.
Fajardo drops back the pass on 2nd and 7, looks over the middle to Austin Mack, has it inside the 40-yard line. Austin Mack goes up and pulls it down.
A nice winding dig route this time, in breaking from depth, that you're going to see Austin Mack find his way kind of up into the 2nd level. Everybody's kind of running coverage, and then he just snaps it off around the 40 into that soft spot. Good job coming downhill to try and knock the football loose from Bubba Bolton, who's been so good at that for the Argonauts in his time as the starting free safety. But Mack on a dig from Cody Fajardo is an elite combination.
Fajardo now over 300 yards, his 21st career 300-yard game, 2nd against the Argos.
To see some of the favorite targets around the Canadian Football League in 2026 here. Tyson Philpott's living on his own planet. I think we've all established that through the first couple months of the season here. But Austin Mack, who would have thunk it? You look at the top 3, and it's all either Alouettes or former Alouettes.
Well, and the one thing with Austin Mack, I asked Cody Fajardo, what's been the difference between him now and maybe when he was in that elite state in 2023 with the Elks? And he said that basically we got him in the right position, right? He wasn't playing X a year ago when he was back in Montreal. He came back from the NFL. He was kind of bouncing around into different spots. If they could get him into that X receiver spot, then he could do great things again, much like he did that one season when they were together in Montreal.
Yeah, X to Y to W, right? Like field slot back into boundary slot back. It's very similar to what we saw, I think, with Jalen Acklin when he got picked up by the Ottawa Redblacks. It's like, well, we want to use him everywhere. Didn't really work out. Gino Lewis, we're going to use him in Ottawa. We're going to move him everywhere. And we now know that didn't really work out either. So I think some guys are just great at what they do. And Austin Mack needed the right surroundings with the right quarterback, the right scheme, and whether it's Killam, Jordan McSimic, Cody Fajardo, the right colors, the right stadium, whatever it is, obviously Austin Mack has found his spot.
Rankin with an 8-yard carry on that last play. That brings up 3rd and just less than 2. Edmonton surprisingly here is going to go for it. A lot of screaming on the Edmonton bench. Let's see what happens, or maybe they just take the penalty. Snyder under center. We got a whistle on the play. Timeout, Edmonton here.
Timeout, Edmonton.
put his foot on the gas right to the end. I'm sure he's not happy with the fact they had to take a timeout there. Snyder coming in to operate short yardage, even with a 26-point lead.
Edmonton certainly in control and on point this afternoon, handling most of their short yardage responsibilities. And obviously we can't say that about the Toronto Argonauts. It's a frustrating day with some of the fundamentals.
Snyder gets over the 30-yard line. Should have enough for the first down, depending on the spot.
Nick Anderson popping up out of the pile. Didn't realize that they'd snuck the star middle linebacker. 111 tackles last year, time for the league lead. He's working right in here, right in the mud, right in the mix. Just trying to make a mess of things and push his way forward. And Snyder right off the backside of his middle linebacker.
Carter Kettle also into the game, making a block on that play. Good to see after the injury that forced him to leave the game not that long ago.
This is the 3-minute warning.
3 minutes to go. The Elks are in control, up 26 here at Commonwealth. We'll wrap it up when we return.
Let me tell you something, brother. There's nothing like top talent wrestling being right here at Commonwealth Stadium. Punchers off the top rope. You know he's in the mix. He's always down for a fight, just like the Elks. And in the hammer, we got round number 2 coming up, brother. Pigskin Pete, he wants a piece of you. Get in the ring, Farhan.
That's pretty good. That's very good. Very strong.
Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling in Hamilton right now. Off the ropes and then up to, oh, he hopped him into, oh no!
Enoch can take any of those guys. Any of them. Justin Rankin breaking free, crosses the 10, down at the 5-yard line. 24-yard gain for Justin Rankin.
Justin Rankin getting skinny. Finds a spot off the right-hand side of that line as they block across. Nice block by Carter O'Donnell, just working the Argonauts defensive line. Free safety Bubba Bolden has to make the tackle again. But that is the Rankin we have seen in the early days of 2026. He's back.
Elks 3 for 3 in the red zone so far in this game. 2:49 to go. Probably want to give it to Rankin again, let him feel even better about this after a tough first half. Penalty flags on the play. Fajardo keeps the ball. Runs out of bounds after no gain. Bubba Bolden, the guy that got a hand on him.
Yeah, I think Cephas was to the left of Fajardo, a wideout, and he was confused whether or not they actually had players on the line of scrimmage or not. So
procedure, no end. Edmonton, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
It was on the line and then off the line, and yeah, right about here. And do I go there? Do I go no? Am I on? Am I off? Am I okay? Yep, nope.
Loss of 5. Brendan O'Leary Orange checks back into the game in place of Mark Corte.
Chris Morris of the Edmonton Elks watches on as well, standing alone right now on the sideline as he, I think, appreciates the machine he's created in green and gold here with Ed Hervey and company.
Argos show blitz, the handoff, and Rankin goes down. Jonathan Kongbo, Deshaun Amos with the tackle for loss. Loss of 2 on the play.
Justin Rankin pushes ahead.
Those two guys, J.C. Sherritt, working in such close combination with Mark Killam. And I love Jordan McZimick about a month ago talking to him before a game where he said, you know, when I first came in, as there's Jordan working up in the booth with Jabari Arthur, working with the running backs as well, and Rick Campbell behind me, he basically said, you know, when I first came into the league, it's like J.C. Sherritt was an all-star, and you know, this guy was doing that, and that player was doing this, and now I have offices across the hallway from them. I have to pinch myself every day.
Fajardo with the handoff again. Looks like Cam Judge is right there to say hello. Correction, that's Darius Pickett with the tackle for loss. And Edmonton will have to settle for a field goal here.
And Pickett loops his way in. Looks like he's going to head down inside. As he times it up nicely, just hides behind his defensive end, actually goes over 2 gaps. And I think Justin Rankin thought that he had but a 7-yard wide hole to run through without getting touched, and all of a sudden number 6 showed up right in his face.
Blanchard on to attempt the field goal and push the Elks total over 40 for the day. The kick is good. 27 straight points for the Elks in this second half. While pitching a shutout the other way, the Argos still looking for their first points of the half.
Just dominant from Edmonton. And I think this is the release of the stress that we've seen from them over the last 3 games, whether it be home or away. It's controlling a game really from start to finish. Even when it was tight, it felt like Mark Killam's team heart rate stayed kind of low. They trusted what they were doing. Schemes were sound. And the result is just waiting out the Argonauts until they could make a mistake and pouncing on it. And they did several times over, creating those turnovers.
Let's take a look at how this game has turned. First half, an entirely different story.
The Elks rebounding after a bit of a letdown against the Montreal Alouettes, as we see a 30-0 run outside of just that single field goal here in the second half. But if you're going to be ready for the playoffs and a stretch run and Labor Day matchups against Calgary, got to be able to do it late in games. And I think Edmonton has proven that over the last month.
Grant lets the kickoff go into the end zone. Let's see if this makes it to the back line. It's not going to, so he'll have to concede the single. And now it looks like we will, in fact, for the final 142, see Nick Arbuckle entering the game.
Oh, yeah, this guy that probably should have been in the MOP conversation last year. It's crazy to think about how much the opportunity meant to Nick last year, getting that full run, and obviously the record wasn't where he wanted it to be, and they ended the season with several losses in a row and all the rest. But man, it's 4,000 plus yards and 70 plus completion percentage for a big chunk of playing time is no joke.
And that comes off the heels of winning the Grey Cup MVP the year before. This guy can play. One of the good guys in the Canadian Football League. The quick pass to Nolan Ohm. Rookie receiver makes his first ever career catch. Favorite of mine. I actually posted a picture of myself and Nolan before the game because I've known him going back to his high school days in Kelowna. Just a quality young lad.
It's great to see him on the field as well, because I was doing the preseason game in Hamilton, speaking of the Tiger Cats, where he got dinged in that one game. Just trying to get kind of settled into the season and make his way through training camp. Got hurt, been out for a big chunk, and had to earn his way back onto the roster.
Winner of the Good Hands Award, one of the winners of that at Eastern Washington for all of his off-field contributions. Runs a camp in the summer called Make It Happen. 3rd and 3 for Arbuckle after that last pass falls incomplete. Argos going for it here. Arbuckle looks quick, has a receiver. It is Ungerer. That one's complete and a first down for the Argos.
Yeah, that comeback, digging against the sideline, a staple of this Argonauts offense. Yeah, it looks like Ungerer is down. We get another look at it, but see Arbuckle just catch and release.
Possibly winded from landing on the ball.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. Always uncomfortable to land on the football if it just gets up underneath the rib cage in the wrong spot.
Let's take a look at the updated East Division standings. I think it's safe to say right now that the Argos are going to lose this game. We've got Hamilton coming up in a big one right now. They got a chance to close the gap and tie the Argos in the East.
Yeah, huge spot, especially with Hamilton against Toronto coming up next week. And then they take a couple of weeks to go their separate ways and come back together on Labor Day Monday in the Hammer, which will be a lot of fun to be at that one. But Montreal has been incredibly impressive throughout the start of this season. Just the consistency with which they find ways, the multi-layered approach offensively with Davis Alexander healthy. When he's got that hamstring completely intact, it's amazing to see how wide open Anthony Calvillo can call the offense with Jason Moss's support. So it all goes through Montreal. I think we all understand that. But the battle between Toronto and Hamilton right now to try and play the spoiler as the season goes on is going to be a heated one.
And even in the West, when you look at 3, 4, and 5 now, that's a pretty big logjam, and you can't assume there's going to be a crossover. Hamilton wins today and gets to 4 wins. They're right there with the Argos.
Yeah, absolutely.
1st and 10 from the 52-yard line. This time the handoff goes to Isaiah Smith. Breaks to the left, picks up a block, crosses the 40-yard line.
Well, they spent so much time at Guelph that I figured a Griffin would get a little bit of love at some point here in their offense, and why not the rookie? Get him a touch. He's a powerful downhill runner. You can tell just the build and the frame as he runs through the secondary. Finally, Kobe Williams brings him down, but great to see Smith getting a touch and showing what he's capable of, even here in garbage time.
The Argos' longest run of the afternoon. Gives him a first down at the 40-yard line. Arbuckle looks, finds a receiver. No, he finds an interception. Is that Ross again? It is J.J. Ross. Slow to get up, but he's going to celebrate his first 2-interception game of the season.
Just driving. Looks like Janarian Grant was in a receiver on this one and just couldn't fight through the contact. As you'll see, the in-breaking route here, J.J. Ross just sit on it, sit and drive. And he gets there with more than enough time to make a play on the football, and again lands awkwardly on it. Good to see him up onto his feet, but the ball skills of this Edmonton secondary could be the defining aspect that carries them deep into the playoffs. I just get that feeling that the continuity from last year and their ability to make plays like that, regardless of time, down, distance, that could be the difference.
Taylor Powell is in a quarterback for this final minute. Hands the ball off for a gain of 8. The team has certainly given the market a reason to come back. All sorts of struggles for Edmonton. They really feel like they turned things around the second half of last season, especially when Cody Fajardo and Jordan McSimic really got comfortable offensively, because it wasn't until week 6 that Fajardo took over as the quarterback. You know, he talks about the offense having been basically built for Trey Ford. It took some time, but then they finally started to feel like they could win at that point, and they've certainly carried that over into this season as they're about to snap a mini 2-game losing streak. Leak bounces it to the right. Bubba Bolden right there to push him out of bounds. Not before a long gain by the normal kick returner for the Elks.
Yeah, always nice when you can get your returner running at full speed, open those hips up, get around the corner, and try to win a race. Bubba Bolden obviously had the angle, but
Elks should be in a position to just take a knee here. And the Edmonton Elks about to pick up their 7th win of the season through 10 games. And Mark Killam will get to 500 as a head coach.
And for a team that focused on 2 home games 11 days away, this will be a significantly sweeter feeling for the green and gold than I'm sure what was a very long plane ride back after the loss against Montreal last Saturday afternoon.
The fans are on their feet. One more kneel down, and they get to go home happy.
sense of urgency, wanted the guys to enjoy being around each other, but came out of that Montreal game knowing they got beat up. Feels like today was a little bit of chicken soup for the soul. Come home in front of your fans, put on a great show for them, hang a bunch of points, get some turnovers, and set the tone for the rest of your season so your crowd knows the start of the season was not an anomaly. That is who they are.
Yeah, the Elks blew this game open in the second half. They did it primarily on the backs of 5 turnovers. Edmonton improves to 7-3. The fans came out, and so did the home team. Justin Rankin and the offense for the Edmonton Elks put up 42 points in a 30-point win. Coming up later, it's the CFL on TSN. Hamilton in action at home. But for now, so long from Edmonton, Marshall Ferguson and Farhan Lalji will send it back to the studio.